The truth is deadly. Bro, I actually legit don't know how this game plays out. I'm gonna just launch it. Just launch it, dive right in. It cannot be that good, the game, right? Or it would be like super famous. I don't know. Okay. I was thinking it gotta be like Danganronpa, Zero Escape. Holy. Oh wait, hold on. Oh my god. It's a rainy day in June with clouds covering the entire nation. The live broadcast of a new gaming release is suddenly disrupted. Ow, my ears! Ow, my ears! Ah, don't do that, game. Ouch. What the heck, man?
番組の途中ですが、簡単なアンケートを行います。左の新卒くんと右の引きこもりくん、あなたはどちらが嫌いですか?
Huh? I'm conducting a quick survey. On one side, a recent graduation. On the other, total shut-in. Who do you despise more? I mean, I gotta say shut-in, right?
ご回答ありがとうございます。嫌われ者の哀れな引きこもりくんには、今すぐ直ちに即刻消えてもらいましょう。八つ咲き人形の刑、執行です。
What the heck? Okay, things went really crazy, really fast.
勝者の諸君、あるい勝者の皆様。ボタン一つで嫌いなやつの体が八つ咲きになった気分はどうかな。すっきりしただろう。しがしがしい心地だよね。自分の価値観に合わないやつは排除するのが一番さ。多数決ってシステムは本当に素晴らしいよね。考えた人は天才だよ。一部の反対意見を踏み潰すのにこれほど優れたシステムはないもの。ぐちゃぐちゃに踏みにじって少数派の体液で湿った道を踏み固めれば盤石安泰大安心。きっと少数派のことなんてありご程度にも思ってない多数派の偉い人が作ったんだろうね。
So I have no idea who's talking, but they cannot be more wrong than this.
感動的な冷酷さだね。ジョークだよ。
It's a joke!
主張を展開して SNS で炎上するなんて怖いものね。おっと、いけないいけない。自己紹介はまだだったよ。ごめんごめん。私。いや、我が輩だったかな。僕でもいいんだが。まあ、我が輩でいこう。我が輩の名前は八つ咲き子。君たちの世界を面白くする
Quartering Duke.
今この時より私はこの国の皆さんが脳髄直撃のエンターテインメントを提供していくので、ぜひ腹がはち切れるまで楽しんでもらいたい。我が輩のエンタメに意義があるなら我が輩の正体を特定してみればいいさ。多様性があってこそのエンタメだからね。喜劇的で野生的な殺戮のエンタメと喜劇的で文化的な正義のエンタメで競い合う。もう今の視聴者数はおよそ5000人か。では今宵の最後のエンタメとして我が輩から君たちに一
Oh no, it's getting closer.
この着ぐるみの中の男は中学時代クラスのリーダーに君臨しいじめを率いてきた
Terrorized his middle school class as the lead bully.
一方で教師にはおべっかを使い大いに好かれエリート街道を邁進過去の罪の償わぬ
Okay, way to make me feel bad.
大手の銀行への
So he's a bully and then he didn't get punished because he sucked it up to teachers. And then thanks to his father's connection, he got a job at the major bank.
大中小が生存へと導いたのはこういう人物なんだよ今一度質問だ君たちは彼が好きかい過半数以上の視聴者が彼を好きだというのなら解放しようじゃないか
Okay, Ted, do you like him or do you hate him? If you say I like him, they said they will let him go. If you say I hate him, probably he will kill him, I guess. But I mean, I don't know the guy. I only know it from the introduction by the quartering duke. So I think it's better to say I like him.
好きだと言ってくれた人は
What the heck? Seems not even 500 people liked him. Hey, chat.
なんて残酷な悲劇だろう本当に悲しくて胸が引き裂かれそうだしかし
The quartering duke snaps his finger.
だからこそ最高にエンターテインメント
What the heck?
そろそろお別れの時間だ俺は我が輩だ
Wait, they killed him?
安全とエンタメを消費する奴らの敵だエンタメとして消費される君たちの味方ださあここからは君たちも楽しんでくれ
Okay. The video cuts off at 4 minutes 52 seconds. As a hacked broadcast, those who ran the website were powerless to stop it. The video, just shy of 5 minutes, is shared across the net, mostly among the youth. But things don't end with that. Not just the broadcasted victims, but others killed in the same manner are soon discovered. The common thread: at least 2 victims are always found at once, with their lock screens set to the symbol of the quartering duke. The police pour all of their resources into investigating the case, but turns up nothing. Pair by pair, more and more bodies surface, until half a year later, over 100 have been killed since that first broadcast. The sheer number of victims and brutality of the murders fling society into chaos.
何が八つ咲き講だエンターテイナーだあんなのただの殺人症じゃないか
I grip my phone tight as I read articles about the murders, speaking aloud despite myself. I've seen the effect of the Duke all around me. People are terrified to go outside, and stories have been shortened their hours. What's worse, he has gained some traction among youth. A young copycats taken by his charisma. With the police overwhelmed, small private agencies like mine are in huge demand. Apparently, even the FBI is getting involved. Past events had already stoked the need of this line of work, but the Duke has only made the things worse. The media jeers at the detective craze.
探偵が食えっぱぐれるくらい平和な社会がちょうどいいってジョージ先生が言っていたけどその通りなのかもな
As I lay and wait for my mark, I recall my mentor's word and sigh to myself. I work for the Gunjoji Detective Agency. It's probably one of the funnier agencies around, though nowadays we're buzzing with activity. I'm a student working part-time, but they plan to recruit me once I have graduated. The situation must be getting pretty serious nationwide.
理想の社会に探偵は不要か
The thought alone makes me a bit miserable. Is this a reality faced by all aspiring detectives? Okay, that's enough of that. My worries run wild when I'm on my way. It's a bad habit, but I've got to focus. There he is. My mark is on the move. Is an old dude. After a moment's pause, the man clad in a trench coat starts off down the road again. I make sure I'm out of earshot before calling in my report, just as my mentor had instructed.
もしもし、こちらはと。対象が動き出しました。群青寺先生の推理通り、例の路地を進んでいきます。罠を警戒しながら追跡を続けます。
Quieting my steps, I follow the man cautiously. He's our top suspect in the serial pet killer case, and according to Mr. Gunjoji, he may be armed. Whatever I do, I absolutely cannot allow my presence to be detected.
私に何か用かな。
Suddenly, the man is right in front of me, and I reflectively take a step back. Did he notice me following him despite the cover of darkness and my voice being out of earshot?
用なんて何もありませんよ。塾に遅刻しそうなので失礼しますね。
As I try to move past him, the man blocks my path.
私と足並みを揃えて立ち止まっていたら遅刻もするだろう。表情に出過ぎだな。減点1。別にそれほど驚くことじゃない。
What kind of mustache does he have,
こんな
man?
何もない場所で立ち止まるのは
What is that?
誰かを追跡しているものか。
Catfish.
後ろの足音の正体を探る
Walrus
ために
tusks.
わざと足を
So the very act of pausing here was a trap. Oh, how could I make such a rookie mistake? It didn't even register with me. I have no one to blame but myself.
記憶にない顔だが何者だ。足音を消しきれない半端な追跡からしてまさか警察や探偵ではないだろうが。
探偵ではないだろう。
Blood rushes to my face. I have poured everything into becoming a detective. His words sting worse than a slap to my face. There is no way I can just let it slide.
バカにするな。僕は群青寺探偵事務所の助手、北条ワトだ。あんたがこの近辺を調べ回っていることも、ナイフを所持していることも確認済みだよ。あんたには動物虐待の容疑もかかっている。おとなしく警察まで同行してもらおうか。
I would hope the edge in my voice would intimidate him, but the man only lets out an exasperated sigh.
本当に名乗るなど減点3だな。ドラマの世界ではないんだぞ。現実の探偵は身の上を一くするものだ。さてはお前さん探偵ドラマ好きだな。
As such as I hate it, he has read me like a completely open book. The moment a detective reveals himself always seems so cool on television, but he's right. Sharing your identity in this line of work is far too dangerous. Something to keep in mind next time.
それでその探偵助手君がたった一人でこの私を連行できるつもりか。今日
Oops. The man slides his hand into his pocket and reads his stance. He is clearly holding a weapon. This isn't the first time I have gone up against someone armed with a knife, but I still feel my hair standing on end. My heart slams frantically against my ribcage as I freeze up, willing my trembling legs to remain steady.
僕だって自分が未熟なことは分かってるさ。だからもう助けは呼んである。あとは先生が来るまで時間を稼ぐだけだ。
稼げると思うのか。お前のような探偵気取りの小僧に。
稼ぐさ。稼がなきゃダメなんだよ。あんたが傷つけたペットのうちの一人は僕のクラスメートの家族だった。彼女はあんたがうろつき回る影響で今も怯え続けてる。僕には探偵としてあんたを止める義務があるんだ。彼女の日常を守るために引くわけにはいかない。
I tear off my jacket and wrap it around my left wrist to form a makeshift glove, a guard against his knife. In my dominant hand, I grip a pair of handcuff-like brass knuckles. Armed as best as I can, I face up with the man. The man just watches me, showing no sign of movement. Good, he's probably never seen anyone use handcuff for self-defense before. It's only natural he'll be wary.
群青寺先生から学んだこの護身術の長所は初見ではまず見切れないことだ。僕の目的は少しでも長く時間を稼ぐこと。この硬直状態のまま時間を稼ぐ、それがベスト。
戦流逮捕術か。珍しい格闘術を身につけているな、坊主。
Boy. I'm struck speechless. What are the odds he would know this tactic? I fumble for an answer, but my mind goes blank.
敵前で固まるな。減点5。いくら珍しい格闘術といえど、この世界に長らく身を置く者には通じないと思った方がいい。だがまあ、並の犯罪者相手なら通用したことは事実。自分の無力さを理解した上で最善の対策を講じたことは認めよう。その探偵としての光る資質、10点をやるぞ少年。リーダーがお前さんを押すのもうなずけるな。
The man suddenly backs down and speaks with a smile. Wait, what? Is this another trap? Glancing in my way, he continues.
勘違いさせてすまないな。私は動物虐待の犯人ではない。本当の犯人は被害者の隣の家の息子で、すでに私の手で警察へ突き出したよ。浪人のストレスから逃れるように八つ咲き港に浸水して犯行に及んだらしい。人間を八つ咲きにする勇気がないからと動物に手をかけるとは呆れたものだ。
あなたは一体。
Upon hearing my question, the man pulls what looks to be a tablet out of his pocket. The screen shows a familiar symbol and the words Detective Alliance.
探偵同盟。
I cannot help but yell at the name. The Detective Alliance, the very organization I revere more than anything else.
そう。私は国内で唯一の国家公認の探偵組織、探偵同盟の一員だ。お前さんも探偵を志す身なら聞き覚えがあるだろう。
もちろん。実績のある100人の探偵で構成され、捜査依頼を受けた事件の内容に応じて最も適切な探偵を派遣する謎の組織。その事件解決率は 100%。 メンバーは自らの特徴に準じた探偵ネームを名乗って素性を隠していて。
謎の組織のことにやたらと詳しいじゃないか、探偵オタク。
As I calm down, my face begins to burn bright red. I had let my excitement carry me away on a totally nerdy rant. Still, the Detective Alliance has been the dream that I have aspired to ever since I learned about it from Mr. Kunjoji.
探偵デバイス。探偵同盟の証ですよね。あなたも探偵な。
よく知っているな。その通りだよ。私は老子探偵。探偵同盟のフル株で、今はスカウトや補助を主に担当している。まあ推理力はまだまだ若い探偵には負けんがな。今回の動物殺傷事件などは少々骨がなさすぎたくらいだよ。
As prideful as he sounds, I can tell by his expression that he is speaking purely from well-earned experience. He has an air about him that is unlike anyone I have ever met, the kind that could only come from a member of the Detective Alliance. As secretive as it is, the Detective Alliance has grown more famous by the day thanks to the recent detective craze. Even now, the news is full of stories about the cases cracked by Detective Alliance members. Then there is all the terrorist plot in the wake of the Quartering Duke incident that they have thralled with almost zero lead. The whole reason I joined the detective agency was to carve a path to earning a spot alongside those detectives one day. Looked up by detectives far and wide, the Detective Alliance is the absolute paragon for those pursuing justice.
無礼な発言ばかりして本当にすみません、老子探偵さん。僕、 勝手な勘違いばかりして犯人呼ばわりまでしてしまって。
よしてくれ。誤解を招いたのはこちらだ。それからさん付けも結構だぞ。
I like his name is Senior.
探偵は継承に等しい
Bro.
のだな。
As if he's not old enough. The senior detective amicably shrugs off my apology. His unshakable calm only makes me warier of where this is going. Then, as if noticing how on edge I look, he continues to speak.
担当直入に目的を言うと、
Okay, old ass.
私はお前をスカウトへ来たんだ。
Is he at +3? I don't know, man. I don't think it
我々の本拠
matters.
地で開催予定の八つ崎港事件への対策会議に出席してもらいたい。
はい。
I respond lamely, unable to fully grasp what he's saying.
もう一度言うぞ。探偵同盟の一員として八つ崎港事件の捜査に協力してほしいと言っているんだ。
The sound I make is so shrill and alien, I scare even myself. I pinch my cheek to make sure this isn't just some dream. Ow, nope, not a dream. Maybe this is Mr. Gunjoji's idea of a prank? No sign of him anywhere, so probably not. Which means...
冗談じゃないんですか。
すべて真実だ。悪化する一方の八つ崎港事件を止めるよう国から直々にお達しを受けたんだよ。同盟でもえりすぐりの探偵たちが一堂に会し、本部で八つ崎港
I feel like the music is louder than the voice actor's
今
voice.
世紀
My mind goes blank again, but if this is real, then my dream is coming true far sooner than I imagined. There was so much I could learn, so many accomplished detectives I could meet. Ideal detectives like the ones I aspired to be, the kind who could have prevented the tragedy that unfolded before my eyes 10 years ago.
聞きたいことは山積みだろうが、まずはお前さん自身の意思を聞きたい。お前さんは探偵として八つ崎港対策会議に出席するか、イエスかノーで答えてくれ。
How can I hesitate? I state my intention loud and clear. Yes, yes! The moment I try to answer, Senior Detective's arm hooks around my neck and begins to squeeze like a vice. It's so tight I cannot breathe. I flail and kick frantically, but all I hit is the air and ground below my feet. I feel a prick as the slender needle pierces the skin of my neck. What feels like liquid ice begin to pump through my veins. My skin turns pale, my limbs go numb, and my strength fades. My vision blurs as my legs start to give out. I sag against the man restraining me. And then, as if his stars have been wept from the night sky, everything goes black.
尋ねておいて悪いが、拒否権はない。お前さんには参加する義務があるんだよ。この探偵撲滅プロジェクトにな。
I'm assuming out of all the elite detectives, there is the Duke who is murdering people. I haven't felt this way in a long time. My consciousness drags sluggishly as I am trapped in the thick mud, helplessly sinking deeper and deeper. As much as I try to shut it out, that traumatic nightmare pulls me in once again. In my dream, I'm running down a dark, frigid corridor, holding on tight to the hand of the girl my age.
私もう走れない。あなただけでも逃げて。
何を言ってるの、サイカちゃん。二人で逃げるって約束したでしょ。
でももう足が。
The girl is beautiful with bewitching black hair, pure white skin, and light purple eyes reminiscent of hydrangeas. What? Hydrangeas? Is like flower? I remember nothing else about her, but I'm sure that at the time she was very precious to me. And then, right before my eyes, a blade swings down and slashes her, covering her in a burst of red.
サイカちゃん。
Oh no, she died. I clutch onto her before she can collapse and face the criminal that did this to her. Okay, it's a little ball. It's a target! Mr. Target killed a girl! Ain't no way. The massive, unmistakably inhumane silhouette emits a strange mechanical whir. Its murderous intent is nearly enough to pierce through the flesh as it focuses on me. I prepare to die as no more than a child, but at that moment... The girl in my arms strained to get the word out as her voice began to frail. I might escape if I leave her now and run, but maybe I can still save her. There's no way I can just abandon her. No. Sasuke! That's all I can remember. My memory cuts out completely as if the next page has been torn out. However, since I am alive, it's obvious that what came after. I traded Saika's life to save my own. This was the mass kidnapping and confinement incident I was in a decade ago, the reason I became a detective. A shadowy organization took 16 children and locked them in an underground prison for a month, never to be caught. Am I supposed to just live with the sacrifices that came out of that, like Saika? I was too incompetent to save even one girl, but I refused to leave it there. My heart and soul demand I see it through. I will become a great detective, a hero, and one day I'll reveal the truth behind what happened 10 years ago. Lore. Day 1 afternoon. I finally come to. My eyelids are so heavy. Just opening them is undertaking. That was one long dream. It was one I have had countless times before. Of that fateful day, I swore I would become a detective. That incident remains unsolved to this day. What really happened all those years ago? As a survivor, the vague testimony I provided didn't really help much. The case has gone cold for 10 years now. I've got to find out the truth. To track down the villain who killed Saika, the girl I owe my life to. That's why I entered this line of work. But that aside, my whole body is aching right now. My mattress feels like a rock and smells like rust. I managed to pry open my eyes, but everything is pitch black. What's more, I cannot even move. My limbs are restrained like I have been wrapped in some kind of sleeping bag. Don't tell me I'm trapped in here.
なんだよ、この状況。
なんだよ. Mustering all my strength, I try to worm my way out. Suddenly, my vision is flooded by the bright light. Flashbang out! Whatever restrained me slackened as my own momentum forces me upright. The sight I'm met with is...
森？それにこの音って。
Lush woodland lies before my eyes. Beneath me is an old rusty locker. Guess that's what I have suffered. I would been stuffed in just a second ago. Youch!
全身が痛い。どれだけ長く閉じ込められていたんだよ。
Who would do this to me and why? When did I even get here? What the heck is going on? My head swirls in confusion as I try to recall what happened last.
そうだ。僕は養子探偵とかいう人に会って、それから。
The haziness clears as I begin to remember. I was suddenly attacked by a senior detective and eventually lost consciousness. He claimed to be part of the Detective Alliance, but maybe that was just a bluff?
あの人が嘘をついていたなら、例のペット殺しの犯人は野放しってことか。早く元の場所に戻らないと。
I reached to grab my smartphone, but after a frantic search, I realized that my front pockets have been emptied. As I continue searching my person, I notice an unfamiliar weight in my back pocket. That's weird. I don't normally keep stuff back in there. Suspicious. I carefully plucked a foreign object from my pocket. It's a tablet device, like an oversized smartphone, more or less. The moment I see it, though, a chill runs down my spine.
これってまさ
I lift it up, touching the button out of the habit. Then a notification appears. Authentication successful.
おはよう、北条ワト君。探偵デバイスを起動させたよう
I
だ
like how it's not iPad, it's D-pad.
薬の効果とはいえ、まさか数日も眠り続けるとは減点
I guess it's a
1だぞ
small iPad, I guess. As the tablet comes to life, a familiar voice emanates from its speakers.
お前さんをこの場に連れてきた張本人、老子探偵だ。3日前にもあったな。もっとも、お前さんは眠り続けていたから、つい先ほどの出来事に思うだろうがな。
僕は3日も眠ってたのか。
So senior detectives one is the one reaching out to me. I recognized his voice from before. Still, his tone is pretty nonchalant for a kidnapper. I cannot help but feel irritated.
きっと私に騙されたと思っているだろうが、お前さんが探偵同盟の一員となったことは真実だよ。嘘だと思うのなら、その探偵同盟の一員である証。
I guess he slept 3 days in the locker? Not sure if that's possible. I guess it's not possible. I guess. I opened up the tablet and looked through the roster he mentioned. There I find my profile beginning with my full legal name. What the heck? I'm number 100? There's 99 more of us? Ouch! My special skill is housework? I'm no great detective, sure, but that's a low blow. I wonder what else isn't on here. From the latest incident all the way back to the before I was born, it's a robust selection of key documents about cases infamous to the public. Far too much for one person to read, frankly. Even at a glance, most of the content seems to be highly technical in nature. This is way too much effort for a prank. Meaning, the DA really did recruit me? Can I trust the senior detective says?
信じていいんですか、老子探偵さん。
なお、今流れているのは録音音声だ。緊急事態が起こったので、お前さんを森の中へ隠し、私は離れることとする。
Sure, definitely not sus. Ah, so that's how it is. I assumed this was a phone call, but I guess that's not the case. The device's setting must have been configured to play this voice message as soon as it finished authenticating.
準備ができ次第、デバイスのマップ機能を使って森を抜け、山の頂上の洋館へと向かうんだ。洋館で待っていれば、彼らと合流できるはず。
Wait, there's gonna be 99 other detectives? I hope not.
待っていてほしい。
That's too many.
それから途中で見かける建物には絶対に入るな。入れば減点などでは済まない。自分の身を守るためだと思って私の指示に従ってくれ。
Senior detective speaks without pause. The moment he is finished, the sound cuts out abruptly. I stand there in a daze, holding the tablet, my new D-pad on one hand. I lift my head and peer through the tree line, making out the shape of the mountain with an imposing manner, resting on its summit. Is that the building senior detective was referring to? While I don't fully trust him, my options are limited. Pressed for choice, I open the map application on my tablet. Morgue? That is not a great name for an island. Various graphics appear on screen displaying the surrounding areas. All that blue surrounding everything must be the ocean, which means I have been taken to a remote island. It's set in PUBG universe? Oh my gosh, that would be so funny. Either way, getting all gloomy won't solve things. I use my fingers to zoom in on the maps, hoping to find more info to go off of. The screen then displays my current location and a few details about the vicinity. So there's a lab and what the heck is Gormengast? Just as senior detective said, there seems to be some sort of manor atop the peak, plus another structure near the tree line. Without any other clues to guide me, I decide to follow senior detective's instruction for now.
探偵ネームって自分でデバイスに登録するのか。どうしよう。僕には特技なんてないし、かといって。
Why is this guy so quiet? You know what I mean? Is there an option that I can press? Hold on, option. BGM lower, voice volume up. I think it's just him that the voice is really quiet, because the old man's voice wasn't that quiet. The tablet hums quietly as I trek on. Before long, I see a parting in the trees. A massive heliport stretches before me. To its right sits a relatively small 3-story building. Though it blocks my line of sight, I assume that the manor is just up ahead at the top of the hill. This structure here must be the one senior detectives warned me against entering. It's not like I really trust the guy, so I'm admittedly a bit curious to sneak a peek inside, but as soon as the thought crosses my mind, a sudden sense of unease washes over me. On my tablet's map, I see numerous circular icons displayed within the building's walls. And not just a handful either. Dozens of icons crowded around like an ant swarming over food. Judging by my own marker on the map, I think these icons are people? But if that's the case, what does this mean? My apprehension refused to die down. I get the sense that going in there would only end in regret, just as the senior detective had warned. I need to decide my next step carefully. I will ignore it and head to the manor or enter the building. Dude, first save. I gotta go in, bro. Now, I gotta go into the building. No doubt about it, I've got to check this building out first. It would be risky to just blindly trust senior detective after all. These circular icons are obviously people, which would indicate others are already in there. It makes a lot more sense to meet with them here instead of wandering around my own. Is it zombies? Zombies? Or dead people? I speak aloud, desperately trying to calm my frantic heartbeat. With great trepidation, I slowly approach the entrance. A dark shadow is faintly visible from the glass door of the building. Just as I had suspected, there are other people here. Without a moment of hesitation, I push the glass door open to rush inside. My voice hitches and my eyes widen like a saucer's as my train of thought comes to grinding halt, all from the shock of seeing the horrific scene that lay before me. Oh, they're all dead! A large mound rests in the open space beyond the entryway, a haphazard pile, blackened and dead, reeking the rotten cheese and the fetid garbage. They're like laboratory? Convincing myself that it is fake, I draw closer, then I lock my eyes with one, its cloudy gaze a stark reminder of our shared mortality. It's heartbreakingly clear these corpses once belonged to a living being. My stomach lurches, its contents spilling from my mouth. I cannot take it. Sinking to my knees, I suck in heavy breath as my heart hammers so hard it threatened to burst. Senior detective must have known. Regret fills me and nothing heeds his warning. I want to run, to break away and leave this place forever. I desperately focus all my energy into every lungeful of air I take. But my pulse won't slow down. In fact, it keeps going faster. My chest burns like it's on fire. No matter how hard I try to inhale, my chest only aches more and more until finally I cannot no longer breathe. What is happening? What the hell? There's like a toxic gas? So I couldn't breathe? My instinct tells me I've got to get it outside, but my limbs are numb from the lack of oxygen, heavy and useless as if I am deep underwater. I crawl, inching along like a caterpillar, but the exit is too far away. A feeling of doom overwhelms me as my strength ebbs away. I cannot breathe. I need air. I cannot take any more of this. Please help me. Desperate. I try to scream, but I cannot muster a sound. The pain is agonizing. All thoughts leave my head despite knowing no one will save me. My mind still cries out. Help! 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 I'm dead. Dead wrong. What? I guess like it was Oh, okay. With a start, I see the heliport stretching before me once more. I take deep breath, trying to calm myself. The air tastes good somehow. Not sure why. I feel like I just woke up from a nightmare.
そうだ。
Head to the peak or investigate the building. I need to stay calm, think rationally, and make the right choice here. I will. Oh, I cannot enter the building no more. So I guess it just... Alright. I decided to do what Senior Detective suggested and make my way towards the manor at the peak of the mountain. My mentor always cheated me for being so rash. Maybe I wouldn't have been abducted if I had just waited for him like I was supposed to. What's more, I get this deep feeling of dread whenever I look at that building to the right of the heliport. I should follow Senior Detective's advice, especially considering that he must have a way better grasp of the situation than me.
本当に何なんだよ、この島は。
I make my way up to the mountain, quietly grumbling to myself when suddenly... a chill runs down my spine. I quickly turn and look behind me. But the only thing in sight is that building. I get the strange feeling that going there would have had irrevocable consequences for me. My uneasiness lingers, but I turn my back and keep going in spite of it. So I guess it shows you like what would have happened if you did choose the other. Okay. I continue up the twisting mountain path for about 15 minutes until at last I arrive at the manor door. It was a gentle incline, but I'm still spent. I weakly take a seat, resting my back against the outside wall of the manor. It's the exact kind of setting you would expect in any mysteries novel. The manor's exterior speaks to its age, smells faintly of lumber. During my approach, I could only grasp at the structure's imposing beauty. Upon closer inspection, I notice its windows are constructed from an unnaturally thick glass, impossible to break or peek through. I stand up and circle the perimeter, but they don't appear to be any points of entry aside from the front door. If anything, it seems like it was built to house prisoners, not residents. This definitely isn't your average manor. What on earth could be waiting within? I slow down and catch my breath. My hand is damp with sweat as I turn the knob of the manor's only entrance. A loud clank rings out as it swings open with ease. The interior seems normal enough.
警戒しすぎか。
I ask weakly as I take a step inside. As soon as I let go of the knob, the door closes on its own. Moment later, a sharp pain suddenly erupts my head, causing me to stagger involuntarily. A shadow at my feet expands rapidly, and my spine tingles as I feel something rushes quickly over me. Without even a moment of hesitation, I kick out the leap to the side. However, something slammed hard against the back of my skull. The impact sends me flying. My vision swims, my mind already fading. I find myself unable to attend, then the world fades to white. Where I died? I'm assuming I died and then... No?
おいおい、こいつ全然起きねえぞ。一発蹴りでもかますか？ヤマトさん、乱暴はやめようよ。
I hear voices nearby.
飛脚パイセンに賛成。暴力とかマジないっしょ。水ぶっかけるくらいでよくね？
渋谷さんも大概過激だな。ここは冷静にね。
もしや心肺が止まっているのではないか。我が速やかに心臓マッサージを。
So it's like Danganronpa.
その必要はありません。どうやら目を覚ましたようですよ。
I open my eyes, but my vision is blurred. The dizzying pain in my head is unbearable. There is a constant ringing in my ears, and my body won't move an inch. A wave of nausea comes over me, but I manage to stop myself from groaning.
僕は一体
I vaguely recall being hit by something the moment I stepped into the manor. At last, my vision finally clears up.
あなたたちは
When my eyes refocuses, I'm met with several unfamiliar faces and sturdy rope binding me. I'm tied up, surrounded by a group of strangers. What in the world is going on?
おいてめえ侵入者こら
A girl in a sport jacket grabs me by the throat, gloriously menacingly. She looks to be in her early teens, but her strength is incredible. I cannot get a peep out while trapped in her iron grip.
本部で待ち伏せたいい度胸してんじゃねえかどこの組織の回し者だてめえあ
大和探偵さん、落ち着いて。
あ落ち着いてられるかよこいつは俺たちの仲間をぶち殺した犯人かもしれねえんだぞなのに黙りこくりやがってよ
だけど、首を締め上げたままでは何も話せませんよ。
えおお科学探偵の言う通りだな悪かったよ侵入者
The girl in the sport jacket lets me go, then immediately falls to her knee, touching her head to the floor as she apologizes.
顔を上げてください気にしてませんからよくわかりませんけど僕は怪しまれるのに十分な理由があったんですよねその通りだがこのままじゃ筋が通らねえけじめだ手痛いのを一発俺にそんなことしませんよというか縛られてるのでできません顔を上げてください実は僕も状況が全然わからなくて混乱してるんです皆さんは何なんですかそれにこの島は一体何が起こってるんですか
He's playing dumb. As I ask so-called rowdy detective my questions, the boy in the wheelchair approaches us.
自らの意思でこの島を訪れたわけではないのですね。それに詳しいことは何もわからないと。
ええ老子探偵という人に連れてこられたらしいんですが詳しいことは何も
老子探偵があなたを
The boy calls Techie Detective cups his chin in the thought.
先ほど眼球運動を確認した限り気絶していたのは間違いない。自作自演で気絶していた可能性もあるけど一度事実として考えた方が良さそうだ。でも連れてくるなんて何か違和感がある。このお兄さんは僕らとは立ち位置が違うのか。八つ崎法事件の捜査にどう関係があるの。
おい科学探偵ってばよ
ごめんなさい。ちょっと考え込んでしまって。
Riley Detective pokes Techie Detective, snapping him out of his trance. He dips his head in apology. I am as confused as ever right now, but I have heard of those two detectives before.
この人たちの集まりはまさか
トリマ、その人の名は解いてあげね。縛ったまま尋問するとかどんなプレイだよって感じでキモいじゃん。待って渋谷探偵さん。
Town Detective? Or Shibuya Detective? What the heck?
ごめんなさい。縄を解くのは待つべきだと思うんだ。
The trendy girl responds with indignation, causing the frail boy to tear up. Nevertheless, he doesn't back down.
敵は20人以上を殺せる毒を有しているわけで、もし彼が敵であった場合、両手が自由になれば微量の毒をまくだけで僕らを全滅させられる。身体検査もなしに自由にするのは危険すぎるよ。あーね、うちがせっかちだったわ。ごめんね。
Even though her idea got rejected, the trendy girl called Downtown Detective laughs as nothing happened.
飛脚探偵さん Thank you。
Doleful
さすが
Detective?
序列14位。マジリスペクトなんですけど。怖がりなだけだよ僕なんて。ただ研究棟の皆さんのような犠牲はもう絶対に出したくないから、慎重すぎるくらいに行動しよう。
Someone androgynous youth speaks with a voice full of fear. Victims like those in the research facility? The comments catches my attention, but now isn't the time to be asking questions. Instead, I hold my tongue and continue to watch in silence. What the heck?
飛脚探偵殿。仮に彼が何かを企んでいようとも、この武装探偵がお主らの身は必ず守り抜こう。
The armored man rests one hand on the youth he called Doleful Detective and the other on the downtown detective. It's Monster on the detective.
僕は運動がからきしなのですごく頼もしいです。
Though the boy smiles at armored detective, downtown detective weighs off the gauntlet, looking utterly repulsed.
うちは結構です。暑苦しさやばいんで秒で離れてもらえます？序列32位の武装探偵さん。
おお、我の序列を覚えてくれているのか。このメンバーで唯一の30位以下だというのに、我は感動したぞ。必ずお主の命を守り抜こう。
皮肉が通じないんですけど。うざ。
Armored detective happily strides closer to downtown detective. He doesn't seem to notice the look of the genuine disgust on her face.
ひとまず探偵デバイスでリーダーに連絡を取ってみたよ。探偵デバイス同士の通信ならこの洋館からでも研究棟に通じるみたいで助かったね。
A man who looks like a corporate employee joins the conversation. Oh man, he holds a familiar tablet-like device in his hand, a D-pad, the trademark of the Detective Alliance. My heart beats as fast as in spite of myself and I guess at the nature of my company.
ありがとよ、社畜探偵。
Workaholic Detective? What are these names,
ほうれ
dude?
ん草は社会人の基本なんてね。そちらの眠り姫についてリーダーに確認も取ってみたけど、どうやら彼も私たち探偵同盟の仲間だそうだよ。念のため君自身にも聞くけど、間違いないよね。
はい、間違いありません。まだ探偵デバイスを受け取ったばかりの新人ですけど。
Everything clicks into place as I speak with the man refers to workaholic detective. I knew it, they really are part of the Alliance, and those aren't just any average members. They're so famous even though nobody like me would know them. There could only be one possible reason why a group of detectives like this would be gathered here. It was the same thing I had been brought for, to discuss how to handle the quartering duke. They are all here for that meeting, no doubt.
残る謎はまだ探偵ネームも持たない新人がどうしてこの探偵同盟本部にいるのかという点だね。君も八つ崎港対策会議に招集されたのかい？
Were you also invited to participate in our discussion regarding to the quartering
同
duke?
志探偵から説明を受けて、自分の探偵デバイスもありますよ。
胸ポケットに入っていたデバイスはやはり君自身のものだったんだね。悪いけど勝手に体を調べさせてもらったよ。
いつの間に。
I don't know how, but workaholic detective is clearly holding my device. The fact that he could swipe it without my noticing is terrifying.
それでは少々お手を拝借。
Workaholic detective grabs my hand to bypass the D-pad fingerprint authentication, navigating to the message application with the practice ease. He seemed to be checking my invitation to the quartering duke meeting, which I had been reading just before I fell unconscious.
なるほど。私に届いた連絡と一字一句違わない。確かに君もこの対策会議のメンバーらしいね。
Relief washes through me at the workaholic detective's smile, but it doesn't last long.
まあこの島に潜入できるほどのものならメールの偽造なんて簡単に行えるだろうけど。
Workaholic detective's smile turns grim. His piercing gaze cuts right through me, making my body flare up with goosebumps.
下手なまでしでかすんじゃねえぞ。三途の川の対岸まで殴り飛ばされたくなきゃな。他の探偵さんたちのような独自の気配が君からは一切感じられない。一体何者なの？
結論を出すには 検討材料が不足しす
What's
ぎています。
dolefulness?
情報が揃うまでは監視はやむ
I
なしかと。
never heard doleful. The other detectives watch me warily. Their eyes make it abundantly clear that they are on high alert. I completely understand why they suspect my exceptional circumstances, but that doesn't make their looks sting any less. Dwelling on doleful detectives' unsettling remarks earlier leads me to wonder what happened to the Detective Alliance.
まあさ
Expressing
怪しんで
sorrow,
ばかりじゃ拉致が開
mournful.
かないし
The
鳥
heck?
間うちらに同行させりゃいいんじゃね。老子のじっちゃんも見つけなきゃだしさ、言い争ってる暇とかないっしょ。
気が合うな、渋谷探偵殿。我も同意見である。証拠が出るまでは彼も仲間の一員でよかろう。
あんたと同意見なのは天下げなんだけど、
He just really likes bananas?
うち頭悪いからさ、武装ちゃんの言う通りその人も一緒に連れてっていいと思うわけ。
Wait. If you're stupid, how are you a detective?
ミステリもので仲間割れとか死亡フラグだしね。
ミステリものって。
Ticket Detective smiles wearily as Rowdy Detective grabs the rope tying me up.
まあ渋谷の言う通りだな。
Rowdy Detective tears my restraints apart as if they're made out of paper. I can now more move freely, except for my bound hands. But still, what a raw physical strength. It's hard to believe a girl smaller than me can be so powerful.
仲間同士で疑い合ってたら八つ咲き子の思うツボだ。俺もひとまずあんたを信じることにするぜ。
行動の前に一言確認を取ってほしかったところだけど、私も同意見だよ。先ほど体を調べた時、何も見つからなかったしね。君にはひとまず
She's too
我
strong
々と
for
行
a
動を
shirt.
共にしてもらおう。ただし今は一刻を争う事態だ。私たちがどんな状況に置かれているかについては、また移動しながら教えるよ。
ありがとうございます。
The detectives head out one after another. Now that the mood has lined up a bit, I cannot help but let out a sigh of relief. I've seen plenty of suspects get interrogated in mystery novels and shows, but never did I expect to be one in the hot seat. Life sure keeps you on your toes.
そういえば侵入者さんのことをなんて呼べばいい？まだ探偵ネームないんでしょ？せっかくだし今決めちゃおうよ。
僕の名前は
I barely stopped myself from answering Downtown Detective with my real name. Keeping your name secret is the first rule of the Detective Alliance. It could be deadly for your identity to get out between cases. That's why upon joining the DA, members are given one word code name based on the defining characteristic of theirs. That code name is known as a Detective Aliases. I have longed to have one of my own ever since Mr. Gunjoji told me about them.
僕の探偵ネームは
Nerd. Despite my yearning for one, it's hard to think of anything on the spot. I have no experience, skill, or defining characteristics. To be perfectly honest, I couldn't even begin to guess why I was led into this detective alliance.
いや悩みすぎっしょ。君さ、見た感じうちより年上っぽいのになんでそんなに余裕ないわけ？人生の先輩。
面目ないです。
Scrub
ほら
detective?
一緒に考えようよ。特技は何？今までの事件で得意だと感じたことないわけ？
猫を探すのが得意でした。なぜか好かれるので。
Downtown detective gives a deep sigh. My amateur status fills me with shame.
じゃあ無能探偵ってことでよろしく。
Incompetent detective? Now that's just cruel. You might as well be saying I'm good for nothing. I mean, not that it's not true, but still. I would obviously prefer a different name, but before I can object...
他のみんなもいい名前が決まるまでは無能探偵って呼ぶ感じでおなしゃす。大和男児らしい謙虚な名前だな。好感が持てるぜ。
She cooked him, man. She cooked him.
飛脚探偵さんや社畜探偵さん
Incompetent detective? Who's gonna hire me?
一緒に頑張ろうね、無能くん。
呼び名があると仲間らしさがぐっと強まるのである。よろしく頼むぞ無能殿。
このゴリ押しな空気、自分の時を思い出すな。
Incompetent detective rapidly gains the appeal for the rest. So rapidly, it is too late to dispute it, much to my charging.
秒で定着してよかったね。
Chagrin.
無能先輩。全然良くない。
Despite my protest, the downtown detective ignores me, flashing the devilish smile. Thus did I become incompetent detective and official member of the Detective Alliance. What is that? Oh, that's the armor walking. A bright red carpet covers the floor and landscape painting adorn the walls of the corridor. The detective explains the situation as we walk down the passageways, a scent of the roses display around the drifting us in the air.
君が連れてこられたこの場所は地図にすら載っていないことだ。この絶海のことを本拠地として探偵同盟は活動を続けてきたそうだよ。本部の2つの建物、捜査の補助や機器の開発を行うための研究施設、スナークスと宿泊用の洋館、ゴーメンガーストとに分かれている。
Snark! I gotta snip you, Snark!
私たちが到着した後はこの洋館にジオラマで再現された八つ崎港事件の主要な
It's a
現場を
donut island.
全員で推理する手はずだったんだ。
だったというのは。
Riley detective suddenly punches the wall beside her, causing the others nearby walls to tremble with the impact.
俺たちが到着した時には本部の探偵たちの多くが毒殺されてたんだよ。研究施設にいた22人のメンバーが全員な。
22人が全員。
Every hair on my body stands on the end at the unthinkable news. Even among history's more infamous mass murderers, few had a death toll more than 20. Killing 22 people at once is beyond all reason.
犯人はまるでゴミでも扱うがごとく施設の入り口に我らの仲間の死体を積み重ねていたのだ。人間の所業とは思えぬ惨状であった。
無能先輩があの死体の
We
山を
saw
見てたら
though, we
し
saw.
ばらくご飯を食べれなかったと思うよ。行かなくてラッキーだったかもね。
A heap of corpses, just imagining it makes me feel faint. And that's not even taking the deadly gas into account.
老子探偵はその惨状を知っていて、僕をこの館に向かわせたのかもしれないな。
That would also explain why he hid me in the forest and went off on his own. I need to find him soon and thank him for keeping me safe.
やっぱり八つ崎港の犯行なんですか。
それはまだ何とも。あれだけ大量の殺人にもかかわらず手がかりとなる品が少なすぎるんです。
八つ崎港事件の特徴は必ず被害者が2人同時に現れることだ。今回の犯行は少し毛色が異なるように感じるよ。
八つ崎港の野郎が犯人に決まってるぜ。もしまだ島の中に嫌がるならこの俺が絶
It's said that the quartering Duke has killed over 100 people, but even that was over courses of half a year. On the other hand, murdering 22 people at once, all of them first-rate detectives, no less, could hardly be work of an amateur. I get the impression that he commits grisly deeds for the thrill of it, but otherwise his identity is complete mystery. Yo, but then he's no longer 100th detective, right? He moved up 22?
その途中でリーダーのデバイスに生き残った同盟のメンバーからこんな連絡が入ったんです。
Techie detective draws out his own D-pad and plays an audio file.
こちらロスタン研究と何者か襲撃全滅した私オーメンガーストに
Gormenghast. What the heck is Gormenghast?
合流して協力させます
Go, men! Ghost! The recording cuts off there. Although the sound was low and full of static, even I could grasp what it was signified.
この声って老子探偵ですよね。よかった。あの人は生きていたんですね。
はい、間違いなく老子探偵だと思います。この状況で無事だなんて、さすがはレジェンドク
Do
ラ
you
スの探偵
think
ですよ
Senior
ね。
Detective was named Senior Detective when he first started
そ
this
んなにすご
job?
い探偵なんですか？
He was like 15, but then he's like senior. Wait, hold on. I just realized. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, Chad. Oh my goodness. Chad. Come on, Chad. The brightness is way too high. You could have told me. There you go.
今でもメディアでよく取り上げられる明けの夜事件ってあるでしょ。あの事件を解決した探偵同盟の
That wasn't the game, man. It was like the brightness was way high up because of Final Fantasy 16.
明けの夜事件？教科書にも載ってるような大事件じゃないですか。
I was a kid then, so I don't remember much, but it was the worst terror attack in national history, sparked by a new religious movement. From that event onward, criminal atrocities swept the nation, which is part of why the Detective Alliance was formed. Solving a case of that magnitude would absolutely qualify him as a legend.
もともとは老子さんと合流するために他の探偵たちと別れて
Wow, the game looks
僕らは
way
この
better
洋館に来たん
now.
だ。
Oh my god.
もともとは
Is there
ロイさん
auto?
と合流するために他の探偵たちと別れて僕らはこの洋館に来たんだ。
老子殿が身を隠さなければ
Oh, that's fast
こ
forward.
こにいる皆さん以外に
Oh,
も
is
探
there
偵がいる。
is there no auto? Okay, there's no
そ
auto.
う、研究
Bro, I have to go bathroom really badly. All that OJ. Chat, I'll be right back. I'll be right
まる
back.
で探
Bathroom
偵
break.
のバーゲンセールだなって感じで草生えるよね。
Okay, I'm back. Washed my hands and everything. Wait, what? It's like a detective bogo sale and they're Lamau. I don't quite get what she means by that, but I guess it is a lot of detectives. I'm still reeling from the heinous murders we have yet to unravel, but at least now there's a glimmer of hope.
これで全ての部屋を探し終えた。
What do you mean, sure?
老師さんが見つか。
もしかしたら僕らより先に洋館へたどり着いた犯人に気づいてどこかへ逃げたのではないでしょうか。もし
What is wrong with this
先ほど
kid's
強調されていたら
eye?
犯人が先
He
回
got
りした
one
可能性
eye
は十分に考えられます。
If?
ああね、うちらがここに到着するまでに10分はかかってるもんね。考えられなくはないのかも。
いや、研究所からこの洋館までは一本道で、周囲は断崖絶壁。僕らに見つからずに逃げ出すのは無理だよ。
The detectives process the situation with impressive speed. I'm barely keeping up as I struggle to understand what it all means. Downtown's casual chit-chat is about only thing that makes any sense to me.
つか、この部屋も無線 LAN ないじゃん。スマホ使えないとか、マジでナイポヤちゃんなんですけど。
いえ、仮に無線 LAN のルーターがあったとしても使えないと思いますよ。
なんで？この島は県外ってこと？
いえ、実は研究棟で固定回線でのネットワーク接続を試してみたのですが、全く繋がらなかったんです。先ほど洋館内の回線で試してみても結果は同じでした。おそらく。
でも探偵デバイス同士はやり取りできてんじゃん。スマホとは違うの？
ええ、探偵デバイスは独自の通信システムを採用してい
Oh
る
my
ん
god,
です。
his eyes are
僕も
freaking
開
out.
発に携わりましたが、
Do you see his eyes?
本当に素晴らしい技術が使われているんですよ。
Doing, doing,
詳しく
doing,
説明すると
doing,
です
doing.
ね。
His eyes are bouncy as heck.
はいはい。まあつまり
Doesn't
うちは
this
この島にいる間
remind you of the
連れた人
days
と
that I
会話もで
played
きないってことね。
when we played the
あ
attorney series?
いい機会だ。この機会に探偵同士、我らみんなの交友を深めようではないか。
ガチで下がるわ。
おいおい、まさかこの匂いは。
Riley detective starts crawling on all four like a dog. Okay. What the hell just happened, man? What the crawling? Why does it have to crawl like a dog out of nowhere, man? This is oh my god, this caught me out of nowhere and I'm laughing and I'm crying at the same time. Oh my gosh. Legit just caught me off guard. Oh man, oh my gosh, I'm crying. Starts crawling on all four like a dog right at the entrance of the room. Yeah, I should have been the dog detective. Holy, oh my gosh, I actually like legit teared up. She presses her face to the carpet with a sharp expression on her face.
ヤマトさん、どうしたんですか？
Oh my gosh.
血
Oh
の
my
匂い
gosh.
だ。
Oh my gosh. Wait, so not only you're strong, but you are a dog? You can smell the blood from like far away? Silence fills the room. The others all turn to look at Rowdy.
バラの
Rowdy.
匂いと絨毯の色で全
Oh
然気づかなかったが、
man.
この絨毯、血痕がついてやがるぜ。入り口からまっすぐに、あの花瓶に向かってな。
She's strong like a dog. Literally a phrase that nobody says. Okay, bro, there was a freaking bloody knife and nobody freaking saw it. Rowdy detective approaches an empty vase and sticks her hand in it, pulling out a bloody knife. That seems very
Bingo
not
だな。
safe.
誰の血だかは知らねえが、どうやら悪意ある誰かさんが館に侵入したことは間違いないようだぜ。
どうして血の匂いなんて分かったんですか？見るからに乾ききってるのに。
俺はガキの頃から漁師の親父を手伝ってたからな。猟犬の嗅覚、わしの視覚、ウサギ並みの聴覚、そして大和男児の魂を持ってん
Yo,
のよ。
she's too OP. So she got a nose of a bloodhound, eyes of a hawk, ears of a rabbit, and raw macho spirit. I'm not so convinced that helping on hunting trips would give you those kind of abilities, but it's astonishing nonetheless.
岩松さん、そのナイフが使われた場所はこの部屋ではないんだよね。
ああ、この部屋には血痕しか残ってねえ。あくまでナイフを隠すのに部屋までやってきただけみてえだ。
Well, it makes sense why she was crawling like a dog.
血の匂いを終えたらいいんだけどよ。さすがにバラの匂いが充満した廊下じゃきつすぎるぜ。
やはりそうか。しかし科学君、君ならば終えるね。
もちろんです。そのための科学ですから。
Techie Detective proudly pulls a cute little machine that resembles a puppy out from his pocket.
追跡遊具くんくんくん。
That looks like a puppy? That looks more like a rabbit. This is my tracking forensic friend, Sniffy Whiffy.
僕と探偵同盟の協力で
There's
生み出された
there's
この遊具は
gotta be a joke
登録
right
した匂
there.
いをどこまでも追跡発見可能な人命救助市場命令とする
Vancouver
発明で
East
す。
Hastings drug addicts, nicknamed Sniffy Whiffies. The Alliance helped me develop him. He can. Oh wait, he just
さら
said
に
that.
南西の小型ゴムクローラーを採用したことで凹凸の激しい通当然小型の発信機も搭載なので探偵デバイスの画面からリアルタイムに追跡可能
Oh,
です。
okay.
うん、大したものだね。後でゆっくりと説明を聞くから追跡に。
ごめんなさい。
Ticket Detective returns to reality, hanging his head in shame.
じゃあ早速その道具で。
道具じゃないです。遊具です。僕の大切な友達を道具扱いしないでください。
Workaholic Detective bows several times with apology for misspeaking. True to his name, he is the very picture of a harried office worker. Ticket Detective may seem calm and collected, but careless remarks about his inventions are a clear sore spot of his. I would better watch my words.
皆さん、取り乱して申し訳ありません。それでは血液の匂いの追跡を始めます。
Ticket Detective comes down, setting his dog-like tracking machine. Sniffy Whiffy loose near the bloodstain. Snippy Whiffy scoots across the floor just like a real dog. He circles around a couple of times, then thumps into the room's door.
追跡が始まりました。扉を開いて先に進んでもらいましょう。
Oh yeah, the blind eyes keep changing. Sometimes it was on the right and sometimes it was on the left. I wonder why though. I open the door and Snippy Whiffy darts out of the room, barreling down the hallway towards the stairs. All I can pick up is roses, but he must have zeroed in on the trail of the blood.
大したもんだな。俺の鼻でも全然嗅ぎ取れねえってのによ。
正確には匂いではなく空気中に残留する物質を追跡しているんです。だから他の匂いが漂う場所であっても惑わされずに追跡が可能なんですよ。
猟犬の鼻も型なしだね。
うるせえ。最初に気づいたのは俺の鼻だろうが。
Sniffy Whiffy stops at the painting just before the stairs of the entrance hall.
クンクン殿が止まった。ここで何者
Sir
かが刺
Sniffy
されたということか。
バーカ、見るからに結婚なんてないじゃん。つまりナイフが使われた場所はこの絵画の奥ってことだっつうの。
絵画の奥？どういうことなのだ。まさか絵画の中に世界が。童話の中の話かとバカに思っていたが実在するとは。
Are you sure they're infamous detectives? Because they're kind
論
of
理的に
not
考え
smart.
ていけば真実は明らかになる。
Huh? What's wrong? Yeah. There's a secret? Okay. I'm sure Daddy can help you with that. I thought something happened. I thought something happened, man. I got spooked. Workaholic touches the painting as he inspects the frame. He then gently taps the artwork before pressing his ear against it.
間違いない。この絵画の奥には空洞が広がっている。ならおそらくここをこうしてずらせば。
Still touching the painting, workaholic detective moves his hand. Damn! The entire wall around it slips back like a sliding door, revealing its hidden passage. Sniffy Whippy, who had been waiting in place, begin to move again, right down the newly discovered path.
今ので分かったんですか？一体どうやって？
それは企業秘密ってことで、私はこの仕事を続けて長いからね。知識量だけはそれなりにあるんだ。
おじさんやるじゃん。ぶっちゃけ見直したっつうか、むしろリスペクっちゃうみたいな。
おじさんは勘弁してほしいな。私まだ一応20代だからね。
Wait, he's in 20s?
ギリギリだけど。
What the heck? I'm not even in 20s. Wait, he's in 20s? Excuse me? I look younger than the anime character? What is life? Workaholic detective turns red and faces downtown detective slaps him behind.
この先でナイフが使われたのだな。何が起こるかわからぬ。我が先陣を切ろう。
おい待てって。この広さなら2人並べるだろ。俺も先頭に立って周りを注意するぜ。
Rowdy detective tries to push forward, but is stopped by doleful detective.
ヤマトさんは科学くん、渋谷さんと通路の入り口を見張っておいてくれないかな。今の状況なら僕の能力が役に立つと思うから。
Armor and doleful detective are spearhead our foray into the secret passage, with me and workaholic detective following after. Rowdy downtown and ticket detective would remain at the entryway, acting as lookout in case the tunnel is a trap. As for why I'm being brought along, it's probably because I won't be able to escape into the tunnel. I'm struck by the fact that the workaholic, the most experienced of the group, had deftly assumed a position beside me. These detectives don't miss a single beat.
じゃあ僕と武装さんで先導していくね。
As he speaks, Doleful and armored detective enters the tunnel together, workaholic and I continue right behind them. The four of us descend down a spiral-cased staircase that winds its way underground. It's like, what the heck? At the bottom is a gloomy underground tunnel. We proceed into it, using the light function on our D-pad to guide our way. The only sound are our footfalls echoing in the tunnel, as well as the sniffy whiffies crawling across the floor ahead of us. The air is dusty, reeks of mold, making it hard to breathe. Clearly, this place is seldom used. My love of cleanliness aches to ventilate this place. The awful detective's eyes narrowing as he travels the tunnel. Oh my gosh, that shit is so loud. Can you stop that, please? Is it this? Okay, oh gosh. The awful detective's eyes narrow as he travels the tunnel. His usual fearful countenance is tense, as if he is an entirely different person.
大したものだろう、ヒゲ君の集中力は。
Workaholic detective whispers to me as if he's reading my mind.
彼の序列は14位。すでに100件以上の事件を解決に導いている。くぐり抜けてきた修羅場の数は 私たちベテランの探偵にも決して引きを取らないよ。
Over 100 cases solved, the idea alone leaves me speechless. We cannot be that far apart from the age, and yet his track record is on a whole another level. What sort of heroic life has this seemingly gentle boy lead up to now?
さっき飛脚さんが言っていた能力というのは？
じきに君も身をもって知るさ。同盟内では彼の能力を名探偵体質と呼んでいる。
Doleful detective stops his tracks.
武装さん、止まってください。
どうしたのだ飛脚殿、足から血が出ているぞ。
Armor shines his D-pad light on Doleful Detective's legs, revealing trail of blood beneath his knees. Something reflects in the light just ahead of them.
足元に何かが。
おそらく侵入者撃退用の罠だよ。触れた感触だとワイヤーか何かだと思う。
He's right. When I get close to the reflection, I see red dripping off an extremely fine wire. It is so razor thin and difficult to see that were it not for the blood, it would have been nearly imperceptible, even the direct light.
探偵同盟で開発中のワイヤー層か。
どうして透明でそんなものを？
密室の錠前をこじ開けたり、拉致や拘束された時の護身用だろうね。本来は特殊なグローブをつけて使うものだって聞いているよ。素手では触らない方がいい。用途が用途なだけに、人体くらいなら強く押し付けるだけで切断可能な切れ味だ。
気づけてよかった。
Workaholic detective produces medication and bandages from his pocket and begins applying first aid to Doleful Detective's legs. What was
ひどい
his
怪我だけど、この程度で
ability?
済んで
I thought he
健
would
康かもね。
notice the trap before he gets hurt. I thought that was his ability. But he got hurt. He got hurt and noticed it. What's the point then?
僕の体質はこんな時くらいしか誰かの役に立ちませんから。
体質って一体どういうことですか？
For some reason, Doleful Detective struggles to reply. Workaholic steps in to answer on his behalf.
飛脚君は昔から自分の身を危うくする
Danger
事象に巡り合
magnet
いやすいんだよ。例えば今回のような罠から指名手配犯に殺人事件、果ては事件の証拠品までね。飛脚君はこれまで持ち前の勘と洞察力でそんな過酷な境遇を生き抜いてきたんだ。
だから名探偵体質ですか？
In stories, detectives are always expected to survive even when wrapped up in a personal case. And then, when their life is on the line, and now I'm standing in front of a real life detective who embodies that very trope.
そんな大それた力じゃないよ。むしろ周囲を不幸にしてしまう最低の体質だと思う。
Doleful Detective's expression flickers as he touches a bandage on his wrist. The countless traces of medical attention covering his body shows just how much suffering he's constantly endured.
だけどその分危険には人一倍敏感なんだ。僕の身に降りかかる脅威の気配なら必ず感じ取ることができる。僕が
I see the resolve within Doleful Detective's eyes as he speaks. He and I may look similar, I might even be older one, but nothing in me competes with that look. We couldn't be further apart.
飛脚殿、水臭いぞ。
Armored Detective abruptly steps forward. He then swings his arm up before bringing it down to chop the wire before us.
武装さん、そのワイヤーは手伝って切れちゃうんですよ。いくら鎧を着ているからって。
心配無用だ。我の身を包むは我が家系のみに言い伝わる史上最高の鎧なり。
The wire parts with ease. Sure enough, Armored Detective doesn't have a single scratch on him. Both Doleful and Workaholic widens their eyes
どのような罠にかかろうとも
incredulity.
我の鎧は砕け得ぬ。安心して 我を先頭に立たせるといい。
だけど僕が前に出ていた方がチーム全体のリスクは抑えられるし。
仲間が傷つくかもしれぬのを静観してはおれぬさ。お主らの盾となるために我は分不相応を承知でこの場に馳せ参じたのだからな。
Armored Detective speaks with the calmness that eases Dolphin Detective's taunt expression. Despite the latter's brave front, he might have been nearing his limit.
ありがとう武装さん。お言葉に甘えて僕はあなたの後ろから周囲を警戒することにするよ。
So I'm assuming Dolphin's gonna get murdered first?
武装さん、すぐ前方僕の首あたりに脅威の気配を感じます。
またワイヤーだな。承知である。
Without a second thought, Armored Detective swings his hand towards the area Dolphin Detective indicated. Chop, chop, chop. Sometimes Dolphin's warning comes too late and Armor runs into a wire, but even then, it never leaves a mark. We continue safely through the darkness until...
発信機の反応を見るに追跡装置は5メートル前方で停止している。
We finally make it to the end of the tunnel with a zero injuries, save for the Dolphin Detective, of course. Sniffy Whiffy is parked right in front of a steel door, which means the bloody knife we found earlier must have been used right behind it.
武装君、申し訳ないが先陣を頼めるかい。
何を言っているのだ、社畜殿。このような危うい状況にて先駆けとなるべく我が鎧は存在している。
And yet, Armored Detective looks tense as he cautiously touches the doorknob. Goosebumps ripples across my body. Deep down, I get the overwhelming urge to scream, "Don't open it!" It's as if my mind somehow knows that what we're about to see is truly horrific. I have an extremely bad feeling about this.
3つ数えると同時に開けるのである。1つ、2つ。
The doorknob makes a click as it turns. My heart rate leaps, but I cannot bring myself to look away.
3つ。
A blinding light flashes as the door opens, forcing me to avert my eyes. On top of that, a metallic stench envelops me. The way it sticks to my throat makes me cough. However, none of the other detectives show even a hint of fear as they proceed beyond the door. I hurry to follow them, but at that moment... Dolphin Detective's cry echoes out. As I step into the room, the first thing I see is ground dyed in crimson. The red spread across so much for the floor that at first I mistake it for a carpet pattern. But there's no way that's the case. Despite my hateful disbelief, the smell filling the air tells me that this is blood. With each breath, the metallic stench fills my lungs, my stomach, my whole body. I'm assailed by an overwhelming urge to vomit. If I lose focus for even a moment, I know I'll wind up spilling my guts out. Who is it though? Who died? Upon closer inspection, I noticed something. It's gotta be Senior, right? Senior Detective. 4 other long, thin objects surround it. In a way, they resemble a 4-quarter of lifeboats, all rowing in different directions away from the sinking ship. But in truth, they are human limbs scattered about across the floor. Before us is a scene devoid of my life. A man whose name I don't know gazes at me, his head half submerged in the sanguine sea. My eyes are transfixed as I stand there in a daze. There's a biting chills as if the temperature has dropped by quite a few degrees. My hands and legs tremble. I can barely stand. Every ounce of strength I leave my body, which no longer feels like my own. I muster up all the willpower I can, only to topple over to the spot. Is this all just a bad dream?
現場に出くわすのは初めてかい。辛いのはわかるが、目を背けてはいけないよ。
Without any concern spare for me, Workaholic walks towards the pool of blood.
飛躍君、武装君、上に戻って他の3人をここへ呼んできてくれ。
Wait, why is there blood on the roof?
リーダーへ洋館に向かうよう伝えてほしい。
You see the blood on the roof? Or on the ceiling? He sums up the heart of the matter in low voice.
殺人事件だ。
There's no blood on the wall, but there is a lot of
何者かに
blood
殺された。
on the ceiling. Regardless of how detached he remains while objectively stating facts, it doesn't change the reality that we are facing. A middle-aged man's corpse lies dismembered, his limbs strewn across the room we stand in. For the first time in my life, I am confronted with a murder scene. So we don't know who this guy is. So it's not a senior detective. So I guess that's good. Chapter 1. Hey, Chapter 1. I stand in the corner, my mind completely blank. This is my first time witnessing a murder scene in a person. Saika's death is seared in my mind, but this is different. Someone I know lies torn to pieces in a vivid sea of blood, dead. I'm no great detective, and though I try to steel myself, coming face to face with a scene like this has me too weak to stand. Even once I regain my footing, my legs still struggle to remain upright. The metallic stench of fresh blood is one I will never be able to get used to. I breathe through my mouth as much as possible. If I had the choice, I would sprint out of this room this very second. Workaholic detective ignores me as he investigates the corpse with a meticulous efficiency. He and the victim must have been well acquainted. His pain looked when he found the body suggests that his mental burden is far greater than mine. Yet despite that, he shows no sign of weakness. How much experience solving homicide would it take to become a detective like him? I cannot even fathom it the way I am now. The other detectives who had been summoned by the doleful detective are unable to hide their shock at the sight.
おいおい、なんだよこりゃ。老子のおやすさんは生き延びてたはずだろ。
うちらが駆けつけるまでに殺されたってわけ？マジ笑えないんですけど。
そんなこと不可能のはずです。老子探偵さんの連絡から僕たちが館にたどり着くまで20分程度。そんな短時間で人体をここまでバラバラにして凶器を隠して逃げ切るなんて非科学的ですよ。
これほどの出血だから死
Wait, so it is senior?
死後硬直すらまだ始まっていない。直前に電話ももらっているから当然だが。
Yeah, it is senior
血液の
detective.
凝固具合から察するに殺されてから半日も経っていないようだね。時系列を整理しよう。ロイスさんから連絡を受けたのが12時40分。そこから私たちは速やかにチーム分けを行い、研究棟からこの洋館へと向かった。洋館への到着時刻は13時ジャスト。私たちが研究棟から洋館へと移動していたこの20分間に犯行は行われたと見ていいはずだ。
先生、質問。うちらが研究棟へ出発する前に犯人がサクッと逃げ出した可能性はないわけ？
それはないよ。私たちはローシさんからの連絡を受けてすぐに洋館へと移動した。もし仮に犯人が洋館の外へ脱出を図っていたなら鉢合わせしていたはず。よって犯人は私たちが到着した際にはまだ洋館内に残っていたに違いないんだ。
この洋館まで続く坂道を駆け下りるにゃ、猟犬並みの脚力を持つ俺だって10分はかかるからな。妥当な線だと思うぜ。
ここで重要となるのは犯人が現在も中に
Senior's
残っているかどうかだ。犯人が館から脱出できた時間について考えてみよう。エントランスホールで無能君を見つけた私たちはしばらく話し合った後、15分後の13時15分に2階へと上がった。そして大和さん、科学君のおかげで隠し通路を発見できたのが13時34分。隠し通路の前の廊下からは常に洋館のエントランスホールを一望可能だ。私たちがあの場所にたどり着いた時点で気づかれずに脱出することは困難になる。犯人が洋館に潜んでいたなら逃げ出す時間は私たちが2階の探索に集中していた間のわずか20分足らず。犯人はまだ洋館内にいる可能
犯
性
人は
が高いんだよ。
ここにいる。ドンドンドン。
20分あれば洋館から抜け出すくらいはできるんじゃ。
外
Among
に出るまでは
us.
できるかもしれません
Among
が
us.
その後が問題です。洋館と研究棟とをつなぐ坂道は一本道で 隠れる場所もありません。下っている間に窓から外を見られればおしまいなので。
Isn't Workaholic so far the only one who claimed that it was senior?
その通りだよ。
Yes.
実際私は窓から外を見るように気をつけていたが、怪しい人影は確認できなかった。
あれ、ちょい待ち。今エントランスホールは誰もいないし、まずいんじゃね？脱出し放題じゃん。
なあ、それなら大丈夫。すでにリーダーたちがこの洋館へ向かっているからね。もし今脱出を図っているとしたら、それこそ山道を降り切る前に見つかるのがオチさ。
つまり犯人はまだこの館の中にいるということか。
よっしゃー、だからさっさと上に上がっぞ。建物の中を徹底的にネズミ狩りだこら。
待ってくれ。洋館内に隠れるよりもずっと手軽で安全なごまかし方があるんだ。
Workaholic points directly at me, drawing the focus of the other detectives.
無能君、君が犯人なら時間的にも何ら問題なく犯行が可能なんだよ。
My voice cracks as I'm caught completely off guard. Me? The killer? How does that make any sense?
単純な話だよ。老師さんをバラバラに切断し、エントランスホールで倒れたふりをするだけなら、我々が到着するまでの20分間で間に合う。犯人がこの館から逃走できないなら、君が犯人だと考えるほかないんだよ。
何を言ってるんですか。たった20分足らず
Wait,
で人間を
maybe
バラバラに
it's
するなんてできませんよ。
Workaholic who is the killer.
それにあの地下通路にはワイヤーが張り巡らされていたじゃないですか。どうやって通ったって言うんですか。
I raised my voice in protest without thinking. Even with armor and Doful's help, getting through that passage took 5 minutes. It's hard to imagine anyone like me with no special traits making it through so quickly.
なあ、そこが問題だ。おそらく何らかのトリックを使ったのだろうね。だけど私は不可能ではないと思っている。
どういうことですか。
耳を澄ましてごらん。天井から声が聞こえてくるのがわかるだろう。
He's right. If I strain my ears, I can pick up sounds coming down from the ceiling. Who are they coming from, though? We should be only people inside the manor right now.
構造上、この地下室の真上はエントランスホールだ。おそらくリーダーたちが館に到着した音だろうね。この地下室は身を隠すための部屋だろうから、すぐ頭上のエントランスホールの様子が音で把握できるよう、床板の隙間を広くして音が響きやすくしているのかもしれないね。
Now that he mentions it, my own eyes spot gasps in the ceiling where the light is filtering through. As Workaholic Detective said, it must be coming from the entrance hall above us.
ともかく、この地下室とエントランスホールは実質隣り合っている。何らかのトリックを使えば、移動時間は大幅に短縮できるんだ。例えば、この地下室の天井とエントランスホールの床板の一部に細工がしてあって、人一人が通れる隙間を作るとかね。
Workaholic's relentless reasoning leaves me overwhelmed. Even if there is a gap, there's no way someone my size could fit that through. Still, he's right about one thing. The entrance hall and the basement are awfully close together. How can I possibly clear my name now that we know it's possible to move between them?
ちょっと秒で結論出しすぎじゃね。天井と床を通り抜けできないことの証明とか無理ゲーじゃん。そんな悪魔の証明みたいな無理難題を突きつけて追い詰めるとか、マジで萎えるんですけど。
渋谷殿の言う通りだ。エントランスホールへと移動したトリックとやらがわからぬ以上、疑うなど論外なのである。まあ、我の必殺技プラズマナックルを使えば風穴を開けることはできるが。
いや、風穴開けちゃったら元に戻らないでしょ。そもそも20分で大人の男性の体をここまで切断することなど可能なのでしょうか。犯人を男性だと仮定しても、よほど手際よく切断しなければ難しいと思います。
血抜きや皮を剥ぐ必要がないし、狩猟に慣れてるやつなら可能だと思うがな。 俺ならやれる自信があるぜ。
じゃあヤマトさんが犯人ってことでいいですね。
自信があるってだけだっつうの。戒律の処理やらで時間が足りねえのは間違いないしな。
いや、時間は十分だったんだ。社畜さんはおそらく僕と同じことを考えてる。
君も気づいたようだね。そう、わずかな時間でもバラバラにできるんだよ。隠し通路の罠にも使用されたこのワイヤーソーを使えばね。
As he speaks, Workaholic holds up a blood-drenched wire. Unpleasant as it is, I am reminded of how easily Dolphin Detective's leg was cut earlier.
まさかそのワイヤーで老子探偵を。
なあ、もしかしたら犯人はローシさんから私たちに連絡があった時点であらかじめワイヤーを彼に巻きつけていたのかもしれない。そうして脅すことで無理やりローシさんに連絡をさせた後、ワイヤーを引っ張って四肢を切断すれば、あとは脱出するだけだ。
そのワイヤーはさっき見張り役の皆さんを呼びに行った際に僕が見つけました。偶然血で足が滑っちゃって。
付着した血の量からして先ほど飛躍くんが引っかかったワイヤーでないことは明白だ。犯人はおそらく僕らが隠し通路のワイヤーを切断することも見越して隠し通路の床に捨てたんだろうね。いや、むしろ凶器を隠すために犯人自らがワイヤーの罠を設置しておいたのかもしれない。ともかく現状では無能君を犯人として疑わざるを得ないんだ。何か反論があるなら言ってほしい。
僕はやってません。
I shout on impulse. Regret fills me almost immediately. I would say the same thing if I was guilty, as would anyone in my shoes.
無能君がやったなんて僕も信じられないよ。だけど信じられないからこそ真実を解き明かさないといけないって思うんだ。
ああ、私も同意見。
Objection!
同盟の仲間が犯人だなんて信じたくないが、探偵として真実を追求しなけれ
Dude,
ばならない。
Workaholic is sus. Are you kidding me? Workaholic surely knows a lot about this case, huh? Workaholic fixes me with a steely look. I want to speak up, but don't know what to say. I have reached my limit just processing all of those theories. There's no room for me to make my own deductions.
おい待てよ。無能の兄さんが犯人だってにはちょいと状況が露骨すぎねえかい。
I mean, it was the workaholic dude that opened the secret passageway.
犯人は別にいるってな。
根拠は何ですか？無能さんを疑わない理由を知りたいです。
俺の勘がギンギンにささやくからだよ。こういう時の俺の勘はよく当たるんだ。
非科学的すぎます。推理は根拠に基づき順序立てて進めましょう。
んだとこら喧嘩売ってんのかてめえはよ。
はい、やめえ。喧嘩はマジサゲポエちゃんだから禁止ね。
だけど科学の坊ちゃんがよ。
別に無能先輩を疑ってるとか言ってないじゃん。だよね、科学ちゃん。
ええ、結論を出すのはまだ早いと思うだけです。何らかの方法で犯人が館を脱出した可能性やまだ館の中に残っている可能性も拭えませんから。
すまねえ。俺はまたさ。
Workaholic detective claps his hands, interrupting the discussion.
それぞれに思うところがあるのはよくわかった。今からエントランスホールにリーダーを迎えに行くから、その後は各自で自由に捜査を進めることにしよう。
Oh my gosh, what if he runs away though?
待つのだ、社畜殿。せっかく探偵たちが集結しているのだぞ。我々は互いの手を取り合い協力して事件に臨むべきなのではないか。
だけどこのわずかな間でも口論が発生している。今私たちはそれぞれ異なる結論に向かって捜査を進めようとしているよね。協力は難しいんじゃないかな。
同感ですね。僕は自分なりの方法で冷静に 科学的に捜査を進めていきます。
なんだよその冷めた目は。俺のさっきの発言を非難してんのか？悪かったって。だけど人間
それでは探偵失格だと思います。
だとこら探偵が。
ああ、もう落ち着きなって。すぐに頭に血を上らせんなっつうの。
Downtown detective does her best to intervene as Rowdy shouts at Techie. Doleful stands beside the three of them, flustered and directionless, as Armor and Workaholic continue their heated debate. It doesn't seem like the investigation is going to start anytime soon. Just like Workaholic Detective said, everyone is playing this by their own rules, so no one is taking the lead. Hello! Oh wow, it's like a baby My Singing Monsters. Junior Hong Kong?
Yeah,
Daddy's
but you
gonna
keep
do
running
it?
away from me.
Well, let Daddy give you a Hong Kong, okay?
皆さん、
I want to suggest we all work together, but the word dies in my throat. There's no way I could be so bold when I am the prime suspect, I know that, and yet I feel like I need to say something. My fist clenches. Unlike me, each of the detectives here has their own talents and strengths. It's my incompetence that really drives home how amazing they are. But that's exactly why I need to speak up now.
口論なんてしてる場合じゃないでしょ。
He's working right now.
Mommy's almost done, girl. I don't know. It says, what's your name?
Mommy's never played this before. She doesn't know.
I have never played it before. I chime in, but my voice comes out so softly that no one hears me. Together, these detectives could solve any case, and yet here they are arguing. That angers me far more than being a suspect.
僕はまた救えなかったんだ。何もできずに見ているだけなんて、そんなの探偵になった意味がないだろう。
My self-loathing mounts as I listen to them bicker amongst each other. My position in this situation doesn't matter. What happens to me isn't as important as getting these detectives to work as a team.
皆さん、聞いてください。
The other detectives turn to face me. Naturally, they all look rather dubious. I falter for a moment but desperately push on.
僕を疑っている人は少なくないと思います。それでもいいです。疑われても仕方がない立場だと思いますから。だから一度、皆さんで協力して事件を捜査してみませんか？
協力か。それは難しいね。我々はどうにも捜査の方針が違いすぎる。
うちも協力には賛成だけどさ、現状じゃ無理くね？そもそもの方針からして無能先輩を容疑者とするかしないかで方針が真逆なわけだしさ。
だから方針を統一してほしいんです。
方針を統一？
そうです。
Although I'm too tense to make a proper response, I force my voice out, trying to be bold as I give the detectives my suggestions.
皆さん全員で僕を犯人とする線で捜査してみてください。僕が犯人だという前提のもとなら、今みたいな口論も起きにくいでしょう。
The detectives fall silent. Maybe telling them to suspect me was too brazen a move after all.
正気かよあんた。せっかく俺たちが擁護してやってんのに自分から疑われてとか言いかれてんのか？
諦めずともいいではないか。急にどうしたのだ無能殿。
何も諦めていませんよ。僕だって疑われるのは嫌です。でも僕のせいで捜査が滞るのはもっと嫌なんです。僕は
I raise my voice with all my strength, my trembling hands falling into fits.
無能な僕自身よりも皆さんの方がずっと信じられる。皆さんが協力して捜査してくれれば真実を、僕が犯人でないことを証明してくれるって信じているんです。
The detectives silently take in my words. Not one of them speaks up. They all simply stare at me, incredulous. I guess my suggestion was overstepping my bounds. I've only made them all even more distrustful of me. But I don't regret it. I would much rather have these outstanding detectives suspect me than continue arguing in vain.
我々なら君が犯人でないことを証明してくれると信じるか。探偵冥利に尽きる言葉じゃないか。探偵諸君。
A new girl has appeared. I hear a cold, beautiful voice behind me. My breath catches as I turn around.
さて、容疑者にここまで言われて、諸君らはどうする？いつまでも着地点のない討論を続けるのか。
Young silver hair
速やかに行
girl.
動に移るの
Check.
か。答えを聞きたいな。
Her hair is white as snow, her gleaming eyes purple like... Oh, it's the freaking flower! Hydrangeas. Her skin smooth with features like porcelain doll. At our back stands a far from ordinary girl. The others are visually thrown off by her arrival. It's clear that she stands out even among those prominent detectives.
リーダー、なぜこの場所に？到着したらエントランスへ迎えに行くと伝えていましたよね。
盟友である老子君が殺されたというのに、入り口でのほほんと待機などできようか。いいなだ。他の探偵たちを置いて、一人で先に来てしまったよ。
The girl workaholic called Chief speaks without a hint of timidity. Footsteps sounds out from the passageway. Evidently, the other detectives follow her, lead heading to the room.
地下室のこと報告していましたっけ？通路の罠で怪我してはいけないから伝えていなかったと思うのですが。
エントランスの床を踏んだ際に足音が下に響いていくのを感じてな。試しに床に耳を当ててみれば君たちの声が聞こえるじゃないか。それで大体の構造は察したよ。地下通路への道は開いていたし、迷い要素がないだろ。
The chief shares her amazing feats as though they were simply a matter of course. We worked so hard to find this underground room, and yet she found it by merely touching the floor. No wonder the others looked shocked. Hee hee. I startle as the girl gives me a smile compared to how she treats others. Her gaze on me feels more personal. No, I'm probably mistaken. I must be.
君が噂の新入りくんだな。私は理想探偵、八崎港対策チームのリーダーを務めているものだ。先ほどはいい単価だったよ。君には期待しているから、その調子で物おじせず、どんどん意見を出すといい。
先ほどは取り乱してすみませんでした。他の探偵の皆さんも到着したら、事件の全容と私の推理を報告します。
ありがとう、社畜くん。助かるよ。ただ、勘違いをしていそうだから、最初にはっきりと言っておこう。この事件の容疑者は、私たち八崎港対策チームのメンバー全員だ。君にも、私にも、犯行が可能なトリックがあるんだよ。
Commotion erupts as the detectives speak over each other, which of course is unsurprising. Other than me, nobody else was in the manor at the same time, and senior detective died. On top of that, this murder required enough time for a full dismemberment. In what possible way could he have been killed? Ideal detective has only just arrived here, but her freaking flower-like eyes glimmering like gems as if they're picked up on something.
事件の輪郭は見えた。あとは君たちと協力し、実像を捉えるだけだ。
Hydrangea? Hydrangea?
反撃開
What
始とい
the
う
heck is that flower? Please go away, flower. Soon enough, the other detectives join us at the scene.
ガッテム、
Booby lady,
あなたまで
Twin
先に
tail
行ってしまう
girl,
とは。神はどこまで我々に試
I don't
練
know,
を与え
another
るというの
girl,
か。
and then vampire dude,
この魔界探偵が
mystic
必ずや
detective.
犯人を地獄へ
Oh,
落と
he's
す。
like a voodoo doll
炎は
guy.
さぞ熱かろうぞ。八崎公よ。
Okay, instantly looks at the booth first.
いや、
Excuse me?
あなた別に老子探偵と仲良くなかった
Are you
でしょ。
telling me that you guys looked at something else before the
少女は冷や
boob?
かに事実を述べた。
Don't lie to me. Why are you trying to be
我
like...
らの絆を愚弄するな。
Come on, it's in the center of the screen, man. I always look at the center of the screen. They obviously intentionally put the boobs in the center of the screen. If the boob was like on the corner, on the side, it would take me some time to see it. But it's just right in the dead center. A middle-aged man in anachronistic Western garments and a black-haired girl clutching a hardcover book approach the body, chatting. The man has the mien of the seasoned veteran. The girl, on the other hand, looks around 10, yet doesn't flinch at the sight of the corpse. Both of them must be experienced detectives.
探偵序列5位である私、家族探偵にはすでに真実がお見通しでしたよ。
Oh, posh detective, ranked number 5. The woman dressed so elegantly that she looks out of place jabs a finger at me.
洋館で倒れてたという
posh.
そこの庶民臭い男。無能探偵が犯人で決定ですわ。ああ、また私の有能さをアピールしてしまいましたわね。リーダー交代の日は近いですわ。
Ed, sure, please, we need it.
あらあら、その推理は誤っているって理想ちゃんが言ってたわよ。
There you go.
なんですってどうせデタラメな推理なのでしょ。そうなのでしょ、美食探偵。
Gourmet detective? What? She eats good food? What the heck is this?
どうかしらね。
Gourmet lady?
そんなことよりも
So who's the gourmet
江戸ちゃんの
lady?
匂いがしないのだけど
And who's the posh
どうした
lady?
のか
Posh
しら
lady is the fan and the gourmet lady is the booby lady? What the heck is happening? Why is she a gourmet
江戸
though?
探偵なら洋館へ着く前に今回の事件は興味が湧かないからサボると言っていたよ。
Gourmet is the booba? Why?
なんですって大先輩である老子探偵がお亡くなりになりましたのよ。一体何を考えておりますの。マイペースを崩さないのが彼のいいところだ。また別の事件で活躍してくれるだろうから好きにさせてあげよう。リーダーであるあなたが甘いから序列上位の方々は命令無視が多いのですわよ。
Classified detective and the
最高
detective
戦力であ
gentleman.
る機密探偵も探偵紳士も来ていないじゃありませんの。
Oh, there are two detectives that did not show up. Classified detective and the detective gentleman.
ピンカートン家の誇りにかけてこの私が必ずリーダーの座を奪って差し上げますわ。
Ideal detective doesn't flinch and merely smiles at posh detective's belligerence.
ありがとう家族くん。君のような目的意識の強い部下がいてくれるおかげで私は安心して危険な事件にも身を投じられるんだ。もし私が敵にはめられて前線を退いた際は探偵同盟をよろしく頼むよ。不吉なことを言うんじゃありませんわ。この私を実績で上回るあなたほどの探偵が下手を打つわけないじゃありませんの。リーダーの座を奪うときは実力で奪い取りますからそのつもりでいなさい。我が宿命の
Workaholic detective explains the situation to those who arrive from the facility. Once he's finished, Ideal detective addresses us.
君たちも目の当たりにした通り探偵同盟本部最後の生き残りと思われていた老子探偵が何者かに殺害された。そして殺した犯人はおそらく探偵同盟の中にいる。
It's among us! Tensions rise across the room. Some detectives look at each other while the other turn their gaze at me. It doesn't seem like they're going to stop suspecting me anytime soon.
どうせそこの庶民が犯人なのでしょ。私の高貴な頭脳がそう囁くのですわ。
私も同意見です。状況を冷静に考えていけば無能君以外に犯行は不可能でしょう。
庶民のくせにいいことをおっしゃるじゃありませんの。社畜探偵さん、もっと私を褒めたたえなさい。
褒めてはないかな。
はじめに最大の誤解を解いておこうか。そこの無能探偵などと呼ばれる彼は侵入者じゃない。私自らが直々に招待したこの会議の正式なメンバーだよ。
リーダー自らが一体何のために。
Workaholic addresses the elephant in the room. Even I'm hearing this for the first time. I have no idea what she intended for me. As if sensing my confusion, ideal detective's eyes met my own. Those... Ooh! Help! What was it? Hydrangea. Hydrangea. Okay, hydrangea. Hued irises implore me to trust her.
私が最も信頼できる存在をそばに
Phew, let's go! Dude, I'm learning a way to freaking pronounce a flower, bro. I don't even know what the flower looks like, so here I go.
その潜在能力を高く評価しているんだ。島へ招いてほしいと老子探偵に頼んではおいたが、まさかラジまがいなやり方で監禁するとは、さすがの私も予想外だったよ。
Workaholic detective's mouth hangs open as ideal detective casually explains the unexpected. Which makes sense, this is an extreme mixture of business and private affairs. I can tell he is in no state to even begin questioning her. Not to mention, I'm quite surprised myself.
命を救ったって何のこと？今初めて出会ったばかりだっていうのに。
I have more questions than I can count, but at the very least, this does make me seem a bit less suspicious. Now is not the time to make any clumsy comments, so I stay quiet and let ideal detective take the floor.
本当にそれだけかしら？疑わしい匂いが香るのだけれどね。
さすが美食くん、噂通りのいい鼻をしているな。いくらでも疑うといい。後ろめたいことなど一切ないからな。
無能くんが犯人でないとしたら、犯人は誰なのかな。老師さんから連絡があった時、無能くん以外の全員が現場から離れた研究棟にいたよね。
いい質問だな、飛脚くん。君たちが無能くんを疑った根拠は例の連絡だろ。それこそが犯人の仕組んだ最初の罠だ。そもそも老子探偵からの連絡はこの地下室から発信されたものではないんだよ。
あの連絡の直後にこの場所で老子探偵が殺されたのは間違いないはずですよねと少女は純粋な疑問をリーダーに投げかけた。
Oh, she says stuff like as if she's reading a book.
死後に電話させたんだな。ブードゥーの資料召喚の儀式を利用すれば確かに可能かもしれない。
オカルトノーミス野郎は黙っててくださいと妄言を口にする男性を少女は罵倒した。
魔界くんの推理は当然誤りだが、死者に話をさせるというのはいい発想だよ。今試して分かったことだが、この地下室では通信が遮断され、外部への連絡など不可能だからな。
なんですって？
The other detective pipes up in shock. Does this mean that the senior detective was restrained somewhere other than the basement when he made contact? That cannot be right. There were 20 minutes between the message being sent and the detective's arrival at the manor. It would be impossible to drag someone down that narrow, wire-filled passage, not to mention dismembering them in so short a time frame.
ローシさんから連絡があったのは事実ですよね。地下室では不可能ならどのように連絡を？
気づいてしまえば単純なトリックだよ。
犯人はローシ君の声を真似ていただけなんだ。今私が行っているようだ。
Excuse me? Ideal detective sounds just like the senior detective as she speaks. If my eyes were closed, I may well have mistaken her for the man himself. She's that killed Ed impersonating him.
生体模写ですか。確かに犯人が私の推理通りの人物像なら可能ですね。
Vocal mimicry. I have heard about this historical skill from my mentor. It originated from Edo period theater. He told me how there were established modes of practice and that in D8, where disguises often came in handy, many were experts in the art, though I doubt I could ever master it no matter how hard I tried.
探偵同盟に犯人がいると言ったのはこれが理由なんですね。さっきの研究員たちの虐殺もローシさんからの連絡の偽装も探偵たちの中に裏切り者が潜んでいたなら 十分に可能だ。探偵なら可能な犯行であるがゆえに、逆説的に犯人は探偵の可能性が高くなる。
ああ、そもそも研究棟の探偵たち22名を全滅させるなんて外部の侵入者だけでは不可能だ。研究棟の遺体を発見した私たちはそのあまりの事態に混乱を隠せなかった。様子をこの事件の犯人が電話で私たちの動きを操るのはたやすかったはずだ。天井をすり抜けてエントランスホールに行くよりもずっとね。
ちょい待ちちょい待ち、いくら探偵だからってうちには生体模写とか絶対に無理なんですけど。
その通りである。筋肉を鍛え上げてきた我であるが、生体は並。生体模写などとてもとても。
ああ、普通ならばできやしない。だが今回私たちが対峙する相手は平気で数十人を殺害する機体の殺人鬼。私たちが推理のプロフェッショナルだとしたら相手は殺人のスペシャリストだ。普通ならばできないことの一つや二つ何食わぬ顔で成し遂げるだろう。発想を自分の価値観に押しとどめるな。目的のためならば自分の肉体を改造し不可能を可能とする。
Both of them fall silent at Ideal Detective's words. Her persuasiveness holds a weight that brooks no argument.
リーダー、電話をわざわざ偽装するということは、ローシさんはあの時。
ああ、すでに殺されていたか、もしくは電話などできない状態だったのだろう。犯人は電話を。
遺体をわざわざバラバラにしたのも、八つ崎港の犯行を模したと思わせて、犯行時刻を特定しづらくするためですか。巧妙なトリックですね。まんまと犯人の策略に乗ってしまい、申し訳ありません。私もまだまだですね。
Workaholic Detective hangs his head. Ideal Detective smiles gently at him before continuing to speak.
地下室でローシ君殺害の準備を整えた犯人は彼のデバイスを片手に地下室を後にした。そして計画通り研究棟で調査中の私に連絡を入れた。そして老子探偵の遺体を発見させるために探偵同盟のメンバーを洋館へ呼び出したんだ。
待てよ、老子のおやつさんからの連絡はリーダーが録音してくれた音声を俺たち全員が聞いたんだぜ。
声の違いに誰も気づけなかったなんてこと科学的にありえるんですか？
人間の記憶の特性だよ。人間の脳は構造上視覚情報の記憶が得意な一方で言語情報や聴覚情報の記憶は苦手としている。そのため親しい相手であったとしても電話で声を聞いただけでは正確に電話主を思い出せない例は珍しくない。
確かに取引先の名前を覚える際、容姿や声と名前を結びつけると覚えやすいと言われている。文字や声の情報だけでは記憶が曖昧になるんだ。
電話で相手の名前を聞いた途端に記憶と声が結びつくことってあるわよね。それと同じ原理だと思うわ。
電話での振り込め詐欺がいい例だな。電話主に名前を先に口にされると記憶と声に多少の差異があろうとも誤認してしまう。多少の声の違和感は通信の不具合が原因だろうと自分で自分を都合よく納得させてしまうんだ。
そういえばさ、老子のじっちゃんからの連絡マジで聞き取りづらさやばかったよね。あれって声の違いを隠すためだったわけ？
おそらくはな。全てが作為的な連絡だったんだよ。
そこまで分かっているなら呼びかけに答えなければよかったではありませんの？犯人の思惑通りに探偵を派遣するなんて。
信じたかったのさ。
For the first time, Ideal Detective's expression grows dark and serious.
もし犯人が老子君を演じているのなら彼は電話などできない状態だということだ。もう彼と生きて再会することはかなわない。だから私は老子君の生存に望みをかけて戦力を二分させることにしたんだ。洋館で罠が待ち受けていようとも無事なように
護身術に長ける武装君とヤマト君を同行させて
Who do you think is the killer? Who's the Among Us,
ご覧
dude?
の通り的中だ自分の推理
Her mirthless, sorrowful laughter startles me. I realize now that those skilled at deductive reasoning can also foresee the grim future. Ideal detective predicted the death of her friend. The pain she's feeling must be greater than I can even
だが
imagine.
探偵の仕事は悲劇を嘆くことではない悲劇の真相を解明し陰惨たる結末を覆すことだ殺害された同士23名の無念は必ず晴らしてみせる探偵諸君私に協力してくれこの島に集まった13人の力が
Oh
合わ
my
され
gosh.
必ず八つ咲き島の計画を
13?
阻止できるはずだ
Okay, I don't know if the game is gonna do it like this, but anytime any Japanese game always give number 13 near the end of the game. They always go like, I said there's 13 of us, but then there's actually 14th member. And then people go like, Nani? I thought it was only 13 of us. What do you mean there's 14? And then it's like, well, there was 14. They arrived earlier in the island, but I know they're not the murderer because they died before we all arrived. But the 14th member left with the very valuable clue to show who the murderer would be, and then they go like, dum dum dum, who could that be? And then it's like, honey wa da 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 da, kimi da, bang. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the game will do this, but they always like start with like number 13, and then it's like there's one that came a day earlier to like, you know what I mean? But I guess I don't know that one person is the senior detective, I guess. But 13 in anime world, 13 is like a very incomplete number. So they're always like, oh, so including senior detective, there were 15. But like, I mean, just by the look, who do you think that killed senior detective?
早速だ
I
が
am
みんなに調べてもらいたいこ
clueless.
とがある詳細な指示はデバイスで送るから今から伝える場所に各自赴いてくれ私の頭に浮かぶおぼろげなる真実は君たちの捜査が終わった頃には輪郭を得て間もなく実相を私たちの前に表すだろう
I mean, Danganronpa did that too, right? There's X amount of us here, but actuality, there was one more person. And everyone was like, what do you mean there was one more person? And it's like, it's actually this person. And it's like, Nani? And it's like, how did you know who I was? I killed the original person, and then I made myself to look like them so nobody would suspect who I was.
さあ探偵同盟の諸君悲劇を覆すとしよう
I mean, my thought on this is that it gotta be the armor guy. Armor guy is the most sus because he was able to walk through the wire without getting any, like, you know, casualties. And then he's like, oh, you know, I can just walk through this. My armor is good. And then the workaholic detective said that these wires require special gloves to use it. And then from seeing all the characters or the character designs, main character doesn't wear any gloves. I think the chief detective, the lady, the white hair lady, she's wearing gloves. There are a few characters that's wearing gloves, but the armored guy also wears gloves. So I think any characters that wears gloves, that gotta be in like high priority. Like when, I don't know if you guys had the same feeling, but when the leader detective was talking and she was like, there's no Wi-Fi here, there's no way to send a signal, I kind of got like the tung tung tung, like flashback, little goosebumps. Because remember when we were looking into the rooms and then we got into a room before we found the knife. The downtown detective, she said, "Oh my gosh, is there any Wi-Fi here? I get that this island is out of the grid, but is there no Wi-Fi that we can connect to from the research lab that will connect us to internet?" And then what was it? Like, there no Wi-Fi? And then the techie detective said there might be internet if you were to connect it through the research building, like the research lab building. They might have internet there. And then that got interrupted with the girl turning into a dog, sniffing, and found the blood-dried knife. You know what I mean? So like, and then when the white hair lady was like, "There's no internet here. He cannot send a message here." I was like, "Bro, that's right. Why didn't I think when the workaholic detective said he could have sent a message here, and then, he could have chopped him off and all that within 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, so true, so true. And I was just listening. I wasn't thinking. And then like when I heard that there was no internet, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. They brought that up while we're investigating the rooms. I'm like, oh, dummy, Kate, dummy, you gotta think. So like that part I thought was pretty cool. I think if it was Danganronpa, they definitely would have been like, flashback, psh, 10 minutes ago, psh. And then the downtown girl was like, where's the internet? And the techie guy is like, there's no internet. But then you can connect to the internet if you're close to the lab. So now that we know that there could be internet if you were to be close to the research lab and connected through the research lab, that solves. So like the person actually, the killer actually had to be close to the research lab to send out the fake voice message to lure the other detectives into the mansion. So that means I am not the murderer because I was in the mansion. I got tied up. I was basically in the mansion. Didn't even get close to the research lab. Whereas other detectives, they don't really know what they were doing before when they gathered up to the mansion. So honestly, the possibility for the murderer is literally everyone except me. And then also plus points if the character models are wearing the gloves. Am I Lion Book, Lion DAE, Lion Omega Brain?
断面
Grudgingly, I take a closer look at the severed parts. They have been cut so perfectly straight, it seems unnatural. Surely a human body couldn't be that easy to slice clean through. Evidence acquired. Overly clean cut.
いくらこのワイヤーの切れ味が優れているとしても、人の力で切断しようとすれば、途中で切断面にズレが生じると思うのだ。ハサミで紙を両断する際、何度もハサミを開閉すれば、それだけ切り口が歪むであろう。
そうですね。切り直そうとするほど微妙に歪んでしまいます。あれ、つまり犯人は人の力ではない別の方法でワイヤーを巻き取ったってことじゃ。
ではその方法とはつまり全然わからぬ。
Some kind of machine?
僕もです。
Some kind of generator? Both of our shoulders droop.
そういえば、なぜか天井から血が滴ってくるのだが、人間の血液は天井に届くほど勢いよく吹き出すものなのか？
Finally, they mentioned the blood in the ceiling.
本当ですね。天井にもべったりと血がついてる。どうしてだろう。
Evidence acquired, bloodstained ceiling.
わかったぞ。
何がわかったんですか、武装さん。
我では力不足だということがよくわかった。やはり我には推理は不向きなのである。
素直な人だな。
True to his appearance, armor really does fall on the bronze end of the spectrum. It takes all kinds to be detective, I guess. However, being that I am the top suspect in this case, his candor and utter lack of suspicion are a total relief. Though he does strike me as kind of an enigma somehow.
幾分かリラックスした様子じゃないか。無能くん。
See, she's also wearing gloves. Ideal detective approaches visibly enjoying herself.
先ほどまでの怯え切った顔と比べると段違いだよ。まああの顔はあの顔で愛くるしかったがな。
理想さん、考え事は終わったんですか？
ああ、推理の展望はおおよそ見えた。あとは証拠を得るために各自に指示を出すだけだよ。
We have only just started and already she's pieced together the truth of the situation. With intellect like hers, it's no wonder she's de facto head and second highest ranked member of DA.
理想殿は何故我をこの場に残したのだ。お主は我のサポートなど不要だと思うのだが。
ああ、はっきり言って推理力の面において私は武装君にさほど期待はしていない。
Ideal gives a quick, straightforward reply to the point where it's almost impressive.
だが君ほど愚直に他者をかばう者はいない。武装君の性格は君自身が思う以上にチームで動く際にいい影響を与えてくれる。今無能君が落ち着いて推理に臨めているのだって武装君に対して心を開いているからだろ。
I nod. She's hit the nail on the head. I'm much more at ease now than when everyone was clustered around me earlier. It's probably due to how much I already trust Armor, as well as how confident I am that he would protect me from danger.
正直に言うとね、もうこの現場には調べるべき箇所など何もないんだよ。
So all of our investigative efforts were for nothing?
ただ、だからこそ断言できる。先ほどの君たちの推理はとてもいい方向に向かっていた。推理が得意な探偵が他に一人でもいれば、きっと多くの事実に気がつくことができただろう。我々の強みはチームで行動していることだ。君たち二人が話し合いながら調査していたように、足りない力は補い合っていけばいい。この大切さを理解してくれると思ったからこそ、君たちには私のそばに残ってもらったんだよ。
Ideal detective's voice brushes against us with a gentle comfort. At this moment, I see her not as our mature, mysterious leader, but for the young girl she is, as if her mask has slipped off.
さて、他の探偵たちに指示を出しに行こうか。単独行動は避けたいから、二人もついてきてくれ。
With that, Ideal detective leads us out to the basement. Okay, well, I mean, I gotta like basically stop it here, because obviously, it's not gonna like show. Oh, what the hell? Question mark? I told you that there is a freaking another guy, and you know that's not senior detective because senior detective is right here. Freaking, I told you. I told you. But hear me out. Hear me out on this, okay? My guess is that they're going to tell who the killer is of the senior detective. However, the senior detective killing and also the person who snipped him to pieces are different. That's what my assumption is going to be. Because for the game, as a gameplay, it's not gonna be fun to drag out who the killer is, you know? But I think it would be more interesting to be like, I know who the person killed the senior detective, or I know who chopped off senior detective, but I don't know why they did that. You know what I mean? So there's two culprits, one who chopped it and one who killed senior detective and the rest of the 22 researchers is my guess. And the person who kills senior detective and the other 22 researchers are going to be the whatever the quarter, what was it, the main villain that we're looking for. And then the other guy who was trying to be like chopped off, because you know how the game started as like that murderer got viral and other kids try to mimic the killing. So I think there is like, even within the detective, they got inspired by the main villain. So we have like a main villain and the mimic. And then because of those two are still there, it's kind of like you don't know who's who and it gets kind of confusing. And then also one of the reasons why there is gonna be two killers, the main killer and the mimic, or like the helper or whatever, is because you know how in the corridor they said the corridor was large enough for two people to walk by. So if it was one killer, then the corridor would be narrow for one person. Only one person can pass by. But then if the corridor was big enough for two people to walk at the same time, then that means there are two culprits. It has to be. I'm thinking is that the question mark, this guy is gonna die, and this guy is not the main killer. He could be mimic, but he is not the killer. Because you know how in Danganronpa there was the main villain, and then there was like a person who was supposed to like sabotage and help with the killing, and we already know who that person was. So I think just like Danganronpa is gonna be like main villain and the like X-Men. And I think this guy is gonna be the X-Men, and we have to find the main villain among these. But I mean, in my opinion, it has to be someone like who wears gloves. It could be Dolphin Detective. Definitely does not seem like the killer because they're all like, oh. But then when they get detected, they flip, their eyes glow red, and they go like, oh my god, you found me. I love killing. Kill. You know what I mean? I think Workaholic Detective is too obvious. What is the importance of the glove? So the reason, like the way that Senior Detective got chopped off was this thin rope, and it's very sharp and thin. You need to have a special gloves to handle them. If you were to hold that on the bare hand, obviously it will cut your hand. So glove is important. Armor did not solve that. Well, he said the way how the senior detective is chopped off is like a clean cut, so there's no human strength that would do such a thing. But that doesn't mean a machine did it. It could be a very strong person, such as Rowdy Detective. Rowdy Detective got a freaking crazy strength that could chop the person up like a machine. You know what I mean? They said like this could not be done by human strength because that was like too, like that's too great. That's just his perspective. No effing way, I was correct. Not only about amount of murderers, but also their identity. Wait, so you guessed how many killers are in the game, and you guessed the main killer? Don't tell me who it is, but how close was I to the answer? Just tell me like yes or no. There's two, like the main villain and the mimic? Yes or no? And is the character wearing gloves? Yes or no? They gone. They gone, dude. Yeah, this is basically Among Us. But I mean, it's basically a virtual novel, more so than Danganronpa. Danganronpa was like a lot of reading, but there was at least like moving around. But here, there's no moving around. It's just like dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. But I mean, murder mystery is intriguing. It's fun. But anyhow, that was Process of Elimination by Nippon Ichi Software. I saw a screenshot of this where you walk around the manor and stuff. Oh, what the heck? Really? Oh yeah, it does. In the back. In the back of the disc, it does look like you can move around. Well, 2 hours in. No game mechanic has shown up. No. But anyways, I don't know if I will continue play this game. I brought this game up because it reminded me of Traitor, the TV show. And I mean, who does not like a good murder mystery? And it's pretty good. Everyone, but I mean, only, I think, you know, people only get invested into it if you're that kind of person, aka who really like Danganronpa series, aka me. No. But anyways, we'll see if we will come back to it. Probably not, just because there are a lot of like Weeby games that we need to cover. What do you mean you only played the first one? Excuse me, mister? I played the second one. Hello? I uploaded that shit on YouTube. Yes, I started the second one and I played a little bit and I was like, it's not as good, and I gave up. Which I think is fair. They chop up people into pieces and traitors. No, they don't. I like played the second one, not just once, not just 2 hours. I legit played it for like at least 10 hours. And then it wasn't as good. So I was like, nah, that's okay. So I stopped. Because it wasn't that good. That's not my fault. That's game's fault. If you don't plan coming back to this game, then I can tell you that you were very close to guessing. Bro, I should be a mega brain, giga brain, 100%. Dude, I am so smart. Lol bait? No way! Hi-Fi Panda will not bait me. Don't lie to me like that. Why are you laughing at my ingenious detective work, man? If I were a Hi-Fi Panda, I would lie. Yeah, because you are not Hi-Fi Panda, because you are Origin Angel. And then if you were to say such a thing, I'll be like, yeah, right, Origin. Move on. You think my dumb ass gonna trust you? Ain't no way, dude! I would, but not this time. Bro! Giga Chat. Anyways, I gotta go cook dinner. My family is hungry. I'll see you guys. Hopefully tomorrow I'll keep you updated, especially on Discord. Discord is like the easiest way to communicate with me. But yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.